Chapter 1913. Since Yi Qianming was here, she wouldn't use her blood eye to check. She had consumed enough today, so she would save as much as she could. If you want to check something, just call me. Yi Qianming said and called out to the space, Luo Jinghong. As his voice rang out, the words hanging in front of him, like a waterfall, all spun quickly in an instant. One after another, streams of light shot up. In the next second, these streams of light flew towards Luo Qingtong and Yi Qianming. They circled around Yi Qianming and kept circling him. Above the sky, a scene suddenly appeared. A man wearing a bamboo hat and green clothes was forced to the land of the deceased immortals by a group of people from the beast-taming valley. Luo Jinghong, surrender to our beast-taming valley and hand over your beast-taming method, and we can spare your life. The elder of the beast-taming valley who was standing at the front said. Luo Qingtong glanced at him and found that she didn't know him. It was clear that this person was either unlucky enough to die, or he was in seclusion in beast-taming King's Valley and became a grand elder. Luo Qingtong glanced at the group of people who were chasing Luo Jinghong and found that the beast-taming King Gu Guzhu and several other elders she had seen before were among them. They were following behind the elders to besiege Luo Jinghong. Luo Qingtong's eyes were slightly cold, and then she turned her gaze to Luo Jinghong in front of her. It was really beyond her expectations to be able to turn books into paintings in this book space. She stared at Luo Jinghong. When he was forced to fly into the land of the deceased immortals, she immediately saw the face hidden under his bamboo hat. Handsome and cold, with sword-like eyebrows. Bastards of the beast-taming valley. If I can come back alive in the future, I will kill all of you. The bamboo hat on Luo Jinghong's head flew up and was split in half in an instant. Then his figure flew into the land of the deceased immortals. Humph. Come back alive? Just wait to die in there. Luo Qingtong heard the elder leading the team to chase Luo Jinghong say coldly. After that, the beast-taming King's Valley's men stayed there for 7 days before they all retreated. So it was done by the beast-taming King's Valley. Luo Qingtong's voice was cold. She had indeed found the right enemy. But Luo Jinghong's life and death, Luo Qingtong frowned. If Luo Jinghong really died, Grandpa and Grandma would be heartbroken. She furrowed her brows and memorized the location of the fallen immortal land. I'll look for it when it's time to enter. No matter what, she would not jump to conclusions without seeing the corpse. As for his grandparents, it was better not to tell them for the time being. It was better for them to think that Luo Jinghong was missing than to worry about whether he was dead or alive. As for the people from beast-taming King's Valley, Luo Qingtong sneered as she recalled the last words of the beast-taming King Valley elder to Luo Jinghong. Don't worry, she will do what her father can't do. Sooner or later, she will destroy the beast-taming King's Valley. Luo Qingtong snorted coldly and was about to call Yi Qianming to leave this book space together. But then she remembered something. When she was in the room on the 12th floor, she found something strange in the 4 beast-taming King's Valley incantations. Why not take the opportunity in this book space today to find out the secret? Chapter 1914. Luo Qingtong thought about it and immediately turned her head. Like Yi Qianming, she shouted at the hanging handwriting, beast-taming art. She silently chanted in her heart to investigate. Soon, a stream of light flew over. Then, a scene appeared beside Luo Qingtong. In a desolate land shrouded in black fog, a man carefully entered a cave in a valley. After an unknown period of time, he suddenly dashed out of the cave with his arms and legs flailing about. Ha ha ha. Beast-taming art. I can tame beasts. Ha ha ha. In this world, no one can stop my rise. Then, that man controlled the demonic beast to run rampant in the hidden world, opening the door and establishing a sect. The name of beast-taming King Valley quickly spread. Luo Qingtong narrowed her eyes. So the beast-taming art of beast-taming King Valley was obtained in the fallen immortal land? While she was thinking, she saw another disciple of beast-taming King Valley enter the cave in the valley. This time, he returned empty-handed. But in the next scene, another disciple of beast-taming King Valley took out a beast-taming art and ran out. Luo Qingtong's eyes flashed. The 4 beast-taming art of beast-taming King Valley were all obtained from this cave in the valley? Luo Qingtong was thinking. Sure enough, every time the people of beast-taming King Valley entered the hidden world, they would go to that valley. The most recent time was last year. But after obtaining the 4 beast-taming art, they didn't get anything else. The people of beast-taming King Valley were so persistent. Could it be that there was something in the valley? As Luo Qingtong thought about it, she memorized the terrain of the cave. When she entered the fallen immortal land, she also wanted to go in and take a look. She wanted to see what the people of beast-taming King Valley couldn't forget. While Luo Qingtong was memorizing the terrain, in the corridor of the room on the 12th floor, beast-taming King Gu Guzhu suddenly remembered something. This time, something happened in the beast garden. I will record this matter in the holy book. I'll go and register first. You guys continue to guard night, I hear. All right. The upper echelons of the beast-taming King's Valley responded. What happened in the beast garden was indeed a big deal. None of them had ever seen such a collective backlash from their contracted beasts. In particular, the ones who suffered the backlash were all the contract beasts of these high-level elders. This incident should indeed be recorded in the Saint Book. After the beast-tamer King Gu Guzhu finished his instructions, he turned around and went up the stairs to the 13th floor. After Luo Qingtong memorized the beast-taming art of beast-taming King Valley, she took the opportunity to investigate the various major events in the hidden world as well as the situation in beast-taming King Valley. She directly called the year. Then, all the major events of the year in this book space were presented in front of Luo Qingtong. TSK, the people from beast-taming King's Valley have done too many immoral things. Huh? The previous palace lord of the Celestial Palace was seriously injured and fell into a latrine pit and drowned? Luo Qingtong looked at these strange and indignant news. At this time, beast-taming King Gu Guzhu had already reached the 13th floor stairs. There's actually news about the Grand Principal? Luo Qingtong blinked her eyes and saw the 2 words, Zhu Yi, in front of her. Isn't that the name of the Grand Principal? Chapter 1915. Suddenly, Yi Qianming's eyes narrowed. Someone is coming. Yi Qianming's consciousness was not as sensitive as usual in this book space. But with his powerful spiritual sense, he still sensed it when beast-tamer King Gu Guzhu approached the door. Let's go. Yi Qianren abruptly pulled Luo Qingtong and the 2 of them disappeared from the book space. Crack. When Luo Qingtong and Yi Qianming's consciousness returned to their bodies, the sound of the door opening could be heard. Luo Qingtong's eyes narrowed slightly. She raised her hand and put the book back to its original position. Then, she restored everything to its original state. Her movements were extremely fast. With the support of Blood Eye, she completed all this in an instant. Then she carried Silver Bow and jumped into the floor space that she opened before. When Luo Qingtong opened the floor space, she had already considered the possibility that someone might suddenly come in. Therefore, the floor space was arranged behind the bookshelf. It was blocked by the bookshelf. People outside would not be able to see this hole after coming in. They had to get closer. And this little bit of time was enough for Luo Qingtong to restore the floor space. Swish! Luo Qingtong's figure swept into the floor space. At the same time, beast-tamer King Gu Guzhu's figure also appeared in the room. His expression narrowed. Beast-tamer King Gu Guzhu had a very strange feeling. It seemed that someone had been in this room before him. But when he glanced at the decorations and arrays around him, he did not think too much about it. He walked straight to the bookshelf in the middle of the room. And after Luo Qingtong swept into the floor space, she also prepared to restore the space. But just as she was about to move, a small paw pressed on the floor area of the space faster than her, and then copied her previous actions and rotated the floor area. The movement was very accurate. The position was also very accurate. The direction and angle of the rotation were also not much different from her previous movements. But the restoration of space had to be done in reverse. What a scam! Luo Qingtong stared blankly as Yi Qianqian's little paw completely turned the floor around. Rumble. As Yi Qianqian's claws pressed against the floor space, it rotated. In an instant, the floor space above Luo Qingtong's head fell down. If it was rotated in the wrong direction, it would not be restored, but dismantled. Luo Qingtong didn't even have time to save him. She watched as the space floorboard fell to the ground with a loud boom. Yi Qianqian's pair of adorable foxy eyes met hers, as if he had no idea what was going on. The confusion in his eyes were very obvious. He was obviously asking Luo Qingtong, "What's going on?" He clearly followed Luo Qingtong's movements. But Luo Qingtong found it difficult to answer him. How was she going to explain to him the science of space folding in the 24th century? Luo Qingtong felt her balls hurt. Not only her balls hurt, but also her stomach, chest, and stomach hurt. "Let's run first." The corner of her lips twitched as she decisively carried Yi Qianren and rushed out. Boom. Chapter 1916. It was the beast tamer King Gu Guzhu who heard the commotion and immediately rushed over. His figure flashed and in an instant, he passed through the space that Luo Qingtong dug out and appeared in the room on the 12th floor. "Night-Eye, it's you?" His face was filled with shock and anger. The higher-ups of the Beast Tamer Valley who were waiting outside also heard the commotion and rushed in. "What's going on?" They looked at the scene in the room with shock. There was a big hole in the ceiling. The Beast Tamer King Gu Guzhu, who was supposed to be recording things on the 13th floor, appeared on the 12th floor. "What's going on?" They looked at the Beast Tamer King Gu Guzhu. The latter looked at Luo Qingtong, who was holding the little fox, with shock and anger. "Night-Eye. Why did you sneak into the forbidden area on the 13th floor? What's your purpose for sneaking into our Beast Tamer Valley?" The Beast Tamer King Gu Guzhu was not stupid. The moment he saw Luo Qingtong, he understood everything. Luo Qingtong entered the Beast Tamer Valley for another purpose. She deliberately snuck into their Beast Tamer Valley. She was hunted down and exposed her powerful Beast Tamer spell. She even lured them to the scripture pavilion step by step. She had other motives. Jingyu had been right all along. His face was filled with shock and anger. The upper echelons of the beast-taming King's Valley were shocked as well. Luo Qingtong actually snuck into the 13th floor. She came here to enter the forbidden area on the 13th floor? Night-Eye, what are you trying to do? What's your purpose for sneaking into our Beast-Tamer Valley? The crowd scolded her harshly. The crowd was agitated. Their faces were ugly. The higher-ups of a first-rate sect, the absolute powerhouses, were deceived by a little girl. They even saw her as the future hope of their sect. The higher-ups of the Beast-Tamer Valley instantly felt like they were cursed. They looked at Luo Qingtong angrily. The ferocious look on his face was as if he wanted to tear her apart alive. "Ha!" Luo Qingtong looked at them and chuckled. Since she had already been exposed, there was no need for her to hide her aura any longer. The girl's expression was indifferent. The smile on his lips was like the blooming of a devil's snare flower in the deepest purgatory. It was full of evil, wild, and enchanting. Like a demon and a poison. At this moment, Luo Qingtong's face was disguised, but it didn't affect the aura around her. "Indeed, as you can see, I'm here for the things on the 13th floor. As for why I'm here, don't you already know? Her expression was indifferent, and her smile was enchanting. The corners of his lips curled up slightly. Holy Book. Her red lips parted slightly as she spat out these two words. In an instant, the Beast Tamer King Guguju and the rest of the upper echelons of the Beast Tamer King Valley paled. Holy Book? The Beast Tamer King Guguju gritted his teeth and looked at Luo Qingtong. He said coldly, "Bitch, you've already seen the Holy Book." His tone was certain. Luo Qingtong must have seen the Holy Book. Otherwise, she wouldn't know the name of the Holy Book. Bastard! The Beast Tamer King Guguju, who thought he had stopped her in time and didn't make a big mistake, was instantly furious. Chapter 1917. Humph. There's no need to talk so much with her. Elder An's voice was cold. If we kill her, no one will know about the Saint Book. He looked at Luo Qingtong's direction with murderous intent surging in his eyes. She actually entered the 13th floor under his nose and peeked at the contents of the Holy Book. She must die. At this moment, Elder An's heart was filled with anger. They had been guarding this place for a long time and had never made a mistake. But now, someone had peeked at the Holy Book in his hands. This was a disgrace that must be washed away. After his voice sounded, Beast Tamer King Guguju and the others nodded with a solemn face. That's right, Luo Qingtong must die. And before she dies, they will make her explain what the beast taming art in her body is and whether it's real or fake. Do it. Their voices were cold. Don't kill her first. We still need to find out the secret in her body. Beast Tamer King Guguju and the others waved their hands. In an instant, the group of Beast Tamer Valley disciples rushed towards Luo Qingtong. Boom boom boom. The group's aura was biting cold and their aura was unstoppable, constantly cutting the surrounding air. Beast Tamer King Guguju and the others watched from the side with a solemn face. They raised their hands and released their aura, enveloping the many bookshelves and books in the 12th floor. There were also 4 beast taming arts hanging in front of the room, so that these things wouldn't be damaged in the battle. Thinking that Luo Qingtong had seen all these things and that they had personally led her up, Beast Tamer King Guguju and the others felt a burst of anger in their hearts. Their gaze towards Luo Qingtong became even colder and more murderous. This bitch, when I catch her, I will let her know the price of deceiving us. Beast Tamer King Guguju suppressed the anger in his heart and coldly looked at Luo Qingtong's figure floating in the air. The other party dared to treat them like fools. The Beast Tamer King Guguju's expression was extremely solemn. On the other hand, Luo Qingtong watched as the Beast Taming King's Valley's disciples surrounded her. She raised an eyebrow and stood there motionlessly. Boom! Just as those people's attacks were about to hit her and trap her in the net, Luo Qingtong's body suddenly emitted rays of silver light. In her arms, Yi Qianxian was completely enveloped in a ball of silver light. Then, the ball of silver light continued to expand until it enveloped her entire body. In the next second, the silver light shattered. Bang! Yi Qianxian appeared beside Luo Qingtong with a wave of his sleeve. Boom! The attacks that were aimed at her and tried to envelop her were all shattered by the man's sleeves. Countless energy shockwaves shot out from the collision. The disciples of the Beast Taming King's Valley who had launched their attacks were instantly sent flying back with miserable shrieks. Bang! 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 Their figures fiercely smashed onto the floor. Some people directly flew out of the scripture pavilion. Some people even fell from the 12th floor to the 11th or even the 10th floor. What? Chapter 1918. They didn't think that Yi Qianxian was actually the Silver Fox. They thought that he had been hiding in Beast Taming King Valley for a long time, hiding beside Luo Qingtong and following them into the scripture pavilion. Damn it! We've really let the wolf into our house. Elder Dark's expression was unusually solemn. His expression was extremely ugly. The other party had snuck into the secret place without them noticing. If it wasn't for the fact that Luo Qingtong had snuck into the 13th floor and was discovered, would the other party have been hiding in the Beast-Taming King's Valley the entire time? Would the Beast-Taming King's Valley have been wiped out without them knowing? Thinking of this, everyone in Beast-Taming King Valley shuddered. They looked at Luo Qingtong and Yi Qianxian with murderous intent. "Let's attack together, don't hold back." Elder Dark's voice was cold. "The other party has peeked at the Saint Book and snuck into the secret place. I'm sure they want to harm our Beast-Taming King Valley. If we hold back now, there will be endless trouble in the future. We must kill them all here." As he spoke, the cold light in his eyes intensified and became extremely cold. Beast-Taming King Gu Guzhu and the others heard this. Although they were very unwilling, they knew that this was the best way. They couldn't put the entire Beast-Taming King Valley in danger just for the beast-taming technique in Luo Qingtong's body. Not to mention other things, just Yi Qianxian's strength was enough to make them feel a strong sense of danger. Bang! Everyone attacked at the same time, attacking Yi Qianxian. The man's eyes were heavy and his expression was cold. His wide black robe fluttered in the air as he raised his hand to protect Luo Qingtong in his arms. Then, he shook his sleeves and in an instant, the aura around him exploded. He charged towards Beast-Taming King Gu Guzhu and the others and clashed fiercely. Yi Qianxian's aura was strong and his aura was biting cold. With a wave of his sleeve and a raise of his hand, he blocked the attacks of Beast-Taming King Gu Guzhu and the others. Beast-Taming King Gu Guzhu and the others had the advantage in numbers. The entire Beast-Taming King Valley's top experts were here. Otherwise, if they were alone, they would have been killed by Yi Qianxian. Bang! Elder Dark's palm was pushed back by Yi Qianxian's palm. He spat a mouthful of blood and looked at Yi Qianxian's direction with a ruthless and cold expression. Force him out. They weren't his opponent. Elder Dark had to admit this point. Damn it! Where did the other party come from? How's his strength so? Elder's faces. The Beast-Taming King Valley's Valley Master and the others didn't look any better. When they attacked just now, they thought that with their lineup and strength, it would be easy to deal with Yi Qianxian. But who would have thought that the opponent's strength was so strong that it exceeded their expectations? There were so many of them, but they couldn't do anything to him. Although they were beast-taming masters, they weren't pure cultivators. Their strength was slightly weaker than cultivators of the same level. But with his cultivation, how bad could it be? In the end, they couldn't do anything to him. If it weren't for the fact that they had so many people, there would have been casualties. Their faces were solemn. When they heard Elder An's words, they immediately flew out and charged into Yi Qianren's arms. Chapter 1919. The girl was tightly protected by Yi Qianxian and wasn't the least bit disturbed by the attacks outside. Seeing the beast-tamer King Gu Guzhu and the others attacking Luo Qingtong, Yi Qianxian's eyes turned cold as he waved his sleeves to block their attacks. However, at that moment, he was knocked flying by the enormous power that they had gathered. Whoosh! The man's body deflected the force, and in an instant, he glided backward gracefully like a butterfly. Boom! Yi Qianxian appeared outside the scripture pavilion. At this moment, the Dark Elder yelled out. Activate the protective formation. Summon your contracted beasts. As soon as his voice rang out, the beast-taming King's Valley's dark department that was in charge of guarding the scripture depository immediately moved. The scripture pavilion shone brightly. In an instant, the protective formation of the entire beast-tamer valley was activated. The protective formation of the scripture pavilion could be activated in an instant. Rays of light shone brightly in the sky. Streams of tyrannical and terrifying power gathered above the formation. It emitted an extremely powerful aura. The aura condensed within it was as heavy as water, with the momentum of wind and rain, and the ability to suppress the clouds. Boom! 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 In the sky, countless lightning bolts and fiery colors gathered. Long dragons burst forth and swam in all directions. At the Dark Elder's command, the beast tamer King Guguju and the others immediately summoned their contracted beasts. The formation in the Beast Garden sensed the summons of the Beast Tamer Valley members and immediately opened its fences and barriers. The Saint Venerables in the top-grade Beast Garden were all controlled by the Beast Tamer King Guguju and the others, and they flew out of the Beast Garden. After sensing the control of the Beast Tamer King Guguju, the golden-winged eagle struggled for a moment before its eyes were completely covered by the color of blood. Boom! The feathers on its body unfurled as it flapped its wings. In the blink of an eye, it was already flying towards the secret grounds behind the beast-taming King's Valley. A group of holy venerate demonic beasts followed behind it. Like the golden-winged eagle, they struggled for a moment before being controlled by their respective beast tamers and flew toward the secret area. Whoosh! 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 Everyone in the beast-taming King's Valley didn't know what was going on as they watched the shocking scene unfold before them. Quick! Look! Heavens! The elders and valley masters' contracted beasts are all moving out. Oh my God! What's going on? Is someone attacking our Beast Tamer Valley? The Beast Tamer Valley's disciples were shocked. All the disciples in the beast-taming King's Valley were dumbstruck by this scene. Oh my God! They've never seen anything like this before. All the elders of the beast-taming King Valley and even the Valley Lord's contracted beast were mobilized. Didn't that mean that the person they were fighting was so strong that the Valley Master and the others couldn't beat him, so they had to call for reinforcements? Everyone watched in shock as the contracted beasts flew toward the secret area behind the Beast Tamer Valley. They didn't know what was going on. In the scripture pavilion, Fang Jingyu also felt the changes outside. She was currently locked up in the Dark Department's prison cell. Chapter 1920. Between heaven and earth, a man as handsome as a god stood in the air. His aura surged like a dragon, tyrannical and wanton. His long hair fluttered in the wind, and his sleeves fluttered, but he was carefully protecting a young girl in his arms. Her father joined forces with a group of beast-taming King Valley's high-level elders and the elders of the Dark Department, but they couldn't do anything to him. Fang Jingyu's face was filled with astonishment. She looked at the man in the sky, wondering when such an outstanding man had appeared in the hidden world. And she didn't seem to have heard of him at all. She didn't even look at him. Fang Jingyu stared infatuatedly at Yi Qianqian's perfect, handsome face. It was as cold and dignified as an evildoer's, cold and icy face. Especially when he lowered his head to look at the young girl in his arms, Fang Jingyu's heart was filled with jealousy. What kind of person could receive his care and affection? So careful and so affectionate? She looked enviously at the young girl in his arms. When she saw the other's face clearly, Fang Jingyu's fingernails dug into her palms. She didn't even feel the blood dripping from her palms. It's actually her. She couldn't restrain herself from shrieking. She couldn't control the hatred and anger in her heart. How could it be her? How could it be her? If it weren't for the fact that she couldn't get out of the prison cell, Fang Jingyu would have rushed out immediately. She couldn't believe her eyes at all. That young girl in the arms of that godlike man, who was carefully protecting her, was actually the person she hated the most. Night Eye! She screamed sharply. She didn't know why all the good things fell on the other party. She was harmed by the other party, but the other party was carefully protected in the arms of that indescribably handsome man. Fang Jingyu's face twisted. However, she quickly came to her senses. Wasn't Luo Qingtong highly valued by her father and the others? For the sake of the secret art on her, they almost didn't even want their own daughter. But now they wanted to surround and kill her? Fang Jingyu became happy as she thought about it. She looked at the light of the great mountain protection array that was gathering above Yi Qianren's head. In the beast-taming King Valley, the 108 defensive formations were connected to one another, resonating with one another. When all of them were stacked together, their power was astonishing. Furthermore, breaking one Dao was not enough to break the formation. They had to break through all 108 formations before they could break through the entire mountain-protecting Grand Array. This black-robed man's strength was tyrannical, and presumably, he would not be harmed by this mountain-protecting Grand Array. But Luo Qingtong might not be the same. What's more, her father and his men were there to support her. How could Luo Qingtong not die? Thinking of this, Fang Jingyu suddenly laughed sharply. "Ha, Night Eye, to think you'd have such a day. I'll watch you die." She looked excitedly at the scene in the sky outside. At this moment, the group of demonic beasts that flew over from the beast garden also arrived. Boom, boom, boom. The group of paragon demonic beasts' strength was shocking. Under the control of the beast-taming King Gu Guzhu and the other beast-taming masters, they could unleash even more strength. After all, to the beast-taming King Gu Guzhu and the others, the golden-winged condors and the rest were just tools. And tools did not fear death. Chapter 1921. This was also the reason why the golden-winged condors hated the beast-tamer King's Valley. Because the beast-tamer King Gu Guzhu and the others had never treated them as companions. Nor did they treat them as living beings. Boom! As the group of demon beasts arrived, the beast-tamer King Gu Guzhu and the others immediately dispersed, allowing the paragon demon beasts to attack Yi Qianxian. In the sky, the streams of energy danced like dragons and snakes. They were waiting for the right time to finish brewing before they came crashing down. Yi Qianxian's eyes narrowed. The protective mountain array was not much of a threat to him, but Luo Qingtong, who was in his arms, could not withstand the power of the protective mountain array. Moreover, there was still this group of paragon demon beasts. Yi Qianxian frowned as he watched the group of paragon demon beasts surrounding him. As for the beast-tamer King Gu Guzhu and the others, they had retreated to a distance and started attacking after the golden-winged condors and the others arrived. At this moment, Yi Qianren was facing twice or even 3 times the number of attacks from before. His eyes darkened. In the depths of his body, a terrifying and violent energy that was so strong that it could destroy the world was surging in his dantian, but he couldn't use it. His meridians could not withstand it. Every time Yi Qianxian used his power, it was precisely at the point where his meridians could withstand it. Only by not using too much power could he ensure that his meridians could last for a period of time. But at this moment, he was already considering whether to use this power. Even if the price he had to pay would be the price of his previous 3 years of life. As Yi Qianxian's eyes narrowed, Luo Qingtong frowned as she watched the demon beasts surrounding Yi Qianxian and herself. She had only been able to find the book with the help of the golden-winged condors. The other paragon demon beasts were also very friendly to her. At this moment, they were clearly being controlled by beast-tamer King Gu Guzhu and the others. Luo Qingtong did not want to fight with them. "Qianren, hold them back for now. Don't hurt them. I'll break this protective formation," Luo Qingtong said to Yi Qianxian. "You can crack it?" Yi Qianxian looked at Luo Qingtong. This protective mountain array was extraordinarily powerful. Yi Qianxian knew that Luo Qingtong's blood-red eyes were not ordinary. However, the array was so complicated. Would she be able to break it in a short period of time? If he couldn't, he might not be able to protect her without hurting the golden-winged condor and the other beasts. Yi Qianxian had to get to the bottom of this. Nothing was more important to him than Luo Qingtong. If Luo Qingtong's answer was not positive, he would not listen to her. "Sure." Luo Qingtong nodded. She naturally had no confidence in cracking it on the spot. Even if Yi Qianxian did not say anything, she would not take the risk. However, before Luo Qingtong entered Beast Tamer King's Valley, she had analyzed this protective formation. Under such circumstances, she only needed to spend a bit of time to break all the formations. At that time, this protective formation would definitely be broken. Okay. Yi Qianxian nodded and did not say anything else. He only focused on dealing with the attacks of the demon beasts and Beast Tamer King Guguju and the others. Because he did not want to hurt the golden-winged condor and the others, the pressure he faced increased sharply. Beast Tamer King Guguju and the others saw this scene from afar and immediately sneered. He can't hold on any longer. That's right. Humph. Look at him. Is he reluctant to attack the golden-winged condor and the others? Chapter 1922. This slut. He looked at Luo Qingtong in Yi Qianxian's arms, and his eyes were cold and full of killing intent. All day long, he was blinded by the wild goose pecking at his eyes. Beast Tamer King Guguju originally wanted to find out the origin and cultivation method of Luo Qingtong's Beast Tamer secret art from her. But he didn't expect that he would be tricked by Luo Qingtong in the end. Thinking of how he asked her about her well-being and acted submissive in front of her, his eyes couldn't help but turn red. This slut, she actually dared to play with him like this. When this man couldn't hold on anymore, he'd see how she died. Beast Tamer King Guguju looked at Luo Qingtong with cold eyes, full of killing intent. Luo Qingtong was quickly breaking the array on top of the mountain protecting great array. These array formations were stacked layer upon layer, 108 of them, one after another, one after another. Each array formation existed independently, but it was also interlinked with the other arrays. Breaking them was not an ordinary kind of complicated. However, Luo Qingtong had already thoroughly analyzed these array formations when she entered Beast Tamer King Valley. Now, even if it was combined with the other arrays, Luo Qingtong would only need to spend a little more effort to break it. Boom boom boom. While Luo Qingtong was breaking the array formations, the golden-winged condor and the other beasts were also crazily attacking under the command of Beast Tamer King Guguju and the others. Because they urgently wanted Luo Qingtong to die, they simply didn't care about the losses of the golden-winged condor and the other demonic beasts. To Beast Tamer King Guguju and the others, Luo Qingtong was the witness of their humiliation, and also the person who peeped at their secrets. They must kill her. Under the control of Beast Tamer King Guguju and the others, the golden-winged condor and the other demonic beasts were constantly closing in on Yi Qianxian's defenses. Step by step, they were closing in on Yi Qianxian and Luo Qingtong, who were surrounded by them. Quickly, go. The golden-winged condor regained some of its consciousness for a moment. Seeing Luo Qingtong and Yi Qianxian being surrounded by them, it immediately struggled to speak to them. However, its own behavior was completely uncontrollable. Even when it spoke, it didn't hesitate to attack Yi Qianxian and Luo Qingtong. However, this recovery of consciousness was only a temporary thing. In just an instant, the trace of clarity in its eyes disappeared without a trace once again. Pang pang pang. The group of demonic beasts approached within 10 meters of Yi Qianren. Luo Qingtong, Luo Qingtong, Luo Qingtong and Luo Qingtong, Qingtong. Luo Qingtong. Qingtong. Luo Qingtong. Bitch. Bitches, just wait for your deaths. As they spoke, they looked at Luo Qingtong who was in Yi Qianren's arms viciously. They concentrated their attacks on her again. While their contracted beasts were restraining that man, they wanted to kill him. That was what the higher-ups of Beast Tamer King's Valley were thinking. They rushed over with majestic momentum. At this moment, Luo Qingtong opened her eyes. Her eyes were bloodshot and as enchanting as a demon. You want me to die? Luo Qingtong looked at Beast Tamer King Guguju and Luo Qingtong. Her lips curled up. Wait and see if you'll have the chance in your next life. Qingtong raised her hand and pointed at a certain point in the sky. Qianren, break through there. Boom. Chapter 1923. In just an instant, the huge formation that enveloped the secret ground behind the mountain was blasted to pieces. Countless energy shot out. The energy that had been brewing in the formation, waiting for a thunderous strike, also burst out in an instant. Rumble. The entire back mountain was ravaged by the violent and wanton power of the formation. What? Beast Tamer King Gu Guzhu and the others, who thought Luo Qingtong and Yi Qianxian were dead for sure, widened their eyes when they saw this scene. The look in their eyes was indescribably inconceivable. The great protective mountain formation was broken? How is this possible? The Dark Elder cried out involuntarily. The 108 formations in this great protective mountain formation were closely connected. Even if they were familiar with the formation, they couldn't break it in such a short time. How did Luo Qingtong do it? Their faces were filled with bewilderment. At this time, Luo Qingtong had already been lifted up by Yi Qianxian. The two figures penetrated the violent storm formed in front of them. Luo Qingtong looked back, looked at the people of Beast Tamer King's Valley below, and said coldly, "One day, Beast Tamer King's Valley will be destroyed." If it weren't for the fact that the golden-winged condor and the others were still being controlled by the people of Beast Tamer King's Valley, Luo Qingtong didn't want to hurt them. The people of Beast Tamer King's Valley definitely wouldn't have it easy today. She would definitely find a way to break the contract with the Beast Tamer King's Valley. At that time, she would make everyone in Beast Tamer King's Valley fall from heaven, to the bottom of the valley. Let's see how long they could maintain their insufferably arrogant and domineering attitude. Just because of a disagreement, they wanted to seize other people's cultivation methods and force them to submit. Luo Qingtong would let them taste the feeling of being suppressed by others in the future. Qianren, let's go. Luo Qingtong's eyes were cold. After saying this, she instantly raised her hand. In an instant, a ray of light swept out from her hand, and rushed towards the broken formation behind them. In an instant, the power of the shattered spirit array seemed to be controlled by some invisible force. The attacks that were originally scattered in all directions were suddenly directed towards Beast Tamer King Gu Guzhu and the others who were about to give chase. The power bypassed the demonic beasts under his control and blasted towards Beast Tamer King Gu Guzhu and the others. The latter and the others could not react in time. Who would have thought that the shattering power that had been rampaging through the mystic realm would suddenly strike them? In the blink of an eye, they were thrown off their feet. Puff! Puff! Pooh! The sound of blood spurting could be heard. Beast Tamer King Gu Guzhu and the others were instantly knocked to the ground, each of them heavily injured. After all, this was the power of the Great Mountain Protection Array. They had been preparing to kill Yi Qianxian with a single strike. Now that the array formation had been broken, the energy was directed by Luo Qingtong and blasted towards them. Bang! Beast Tamer King Gu Guzhu's body fell heavily to the ground. Beside him, Eldarin and the others were also in a sorry state. Bastard! Chase after them! Eldarin and Beast Tamer King Gu Guzhu were so angry that their eyes were about to pop out of their sockets when they saw Luo Qingtong and Yi Qianxian's figures disappear into the air. Especially Eldarin, who had been infiltrated into the mystic realm and peeked at the secrets of the holy book on the 13th floor. Not only that, the other party had left unscathed. How humiliating would this be if word got out? Chapter 1924. Beast Tamer King Gu Guzhu was so angry that blood spurted out of his mouth. He was the one who brought her in and personally brought her to the 12th floor of the scripture pavilion. If Luo Qingtong left so easily, how would he explain this to the people of Beast Tamer King's Valley? The other party had turned his Beast Tamer King's Valley upside down. If their Beast Tamer King's Valley allowed them to leave like this, if this spread out, it would be a huge joke. And because of this huge joke, he even crippled his own daughter and abandoned her like a pair of worn-out shoes. Beast Tamer King Guguju felt a burst of blood rush to his head. He, Dark Elder, and the others got up from the ground and wanted to chase outside. But how could they make it in time? With Yi Qianxian's strength, it was simply impossible for them to catch up. They couldn't even find any trace of the other party's departure. In an instant, Beast Tamer King Guguju and the others were so angry that they stomped their feet. The entire Beast Tamer King's valley was filled with their harsh scolding and cursing. He was hysterical and furious. Luo Qingtong and Yi Qianxian had already left the Beast Tamer King's valley. Hearing the angry shouts from the depths of the mountain range, Luo Qingtong's lips curled up slightly. Then she looked at the man beside her and said, "Qianren, let's go." The man's voice was low and deep, and his eyes were light and doting. Where to? Go back? When Yi Qianxian said, "Go back," he naturally meant to go back to True Spill Continent. Luo Qingtong came to the hidden world in advance to investigate Luo Jinghong's news. Now that the news had been found, and there was still some time before the aura of the fallen immortal land weakened and opened, she naturally had to go back to True Spill Continent first. After all, Su Yu and the others were still there, and their strength had not been completely improved. Luo Qingtong also had to go back and refine the power of the immortal jade bone for them to continue to improve their strength. When the fallen immortal land opened, she could take them with her. Yes, of course. Luo Qingtong nodded. However, as she spoke, the corners of her lips suddenly curled up. Before I go back, there is one more thing I need to do. Did the Beast Taming King's Valley think that today's matter is over? What a joke. He still had a big favor that he needed their help with. Please don't decline. Of course, it was useless for them to refuse. As she thought about it, the smile on Luo Qingtong's lips was indescribably evil. Yi Qianxian raised his eyebrows when he saw the smile on her face. What is it? He looked at the girl. He had never been able to guess what this woman was thinking. What else did she want to do? You'll know when the time comes. Luo Qingtong caught a glimpse of his gaze and smiled wickedly. She then put her arms around his neck and said with a smile, "Okay, let's go." Go. As she said this, the corners of her lips curled up. Celestial, Extreme, Palace. Hearing Luo Qingtong's words, Yi Qianxian raised his eyebrows in surprise. However, he didn't say anything. He directly held Luo Qingtong's slender waist, raised his hand, and shook his sleeve. Then, he disappeared with Luo Qingtong. No matter what this woman wanted to do, he would support her. No matter the reason, there was no need to ask for the reason. Shua. The two figures disappeared. Hidden World, Celestial Palace. Luo Qingtong and Yi Qianxian stood not far away. Chapter 1925. Qianren, wait for me here. I'll be back in a jiffy, she said to the man beside her. Yi Qianxian looked at her and raised his eyebrows. You don't need me to go with you. Celestial Palace wasn't weak. It was a third-class sect, and one of the best among them. It was said that the master of Celestial Palace had the potential to reach the Holy Spirit realm. When that time came, Celestial Palace would be promoted to a second-class sect. There were quite a number of saint emperors among them. Luo Qingtong was only a holy lord. Although Shuetong was powerful, she was going to the enemy's lair this time. Yi Qianxian was a little worried. It's fine. They won't dare to touch me. Luo Qingtong's lips curled up slightly. She didn't come here as Luo Qingtong. She came as Night Eye. As for her purpose, it wasn't to destroy Celestial Palace, so there was no need to worry. Okay. Yi Qianxian looked at her and nodded. He narrowed his eyes slightly. He wasn't the kind of person who would restrict his woman. Since Luo Qingtong said it was fine, then he would let her grow. He always knew that when he wasn't by her side, she did better than anyone else. Luo Qingtong looked at him and suddenly smiled. Then she hooked her arms around his neck and kissed him on the lips. "Don't worry. I'll be fine. Wait for me to come back." As she spoke, she smiled and stuck out her tongue to hook his lips. Then she turned and left. This woman. Yi Qianxian's face darkened as he watched Luo Qingtong leave. However, when he raised his hand to caress the mark left by the woman on his lips, the corners of his lips curled up slightly. Wait for her to come back. He quite liked this feeling. Celestial Palace, Conference Hall. At this moment, a group of Celestial Palace elders gathered together and bowed to the man standing in front of them with his hands behind his back. Palace Master. The Celestial Palace Master looked to be no more than 50 years old. The aura around him was biting cold, and his eyes were cold. At this moment, his eyes were cold as he looked at the group of Celestial Palace elders below and said, "Haven't you found out yet? Who is trying to harm the Celestial Palace?" As he spoke, he heavily patted a certain dragon head ornament beside him. In an instant, bang! Under the fury of the Celestial Zenith Palace Master, that dragon head ornament was smashed into smithereens and exploded with a loud bang. The Master of Celestial Palace was furious. Not too long ago, the beast tamer King Gu Guzhu's daughter, Fang Jingyu, celebrated her birthday. As a result, during the birthday party, it was revealed that the people of Celestial Palace had colluded with the apprentices of Beast Tamer King's Valley to attack the Great Elder Superior Sirius. The purpose was to destroy the evidence and hide the fact that they had killed the Great Elder's grandson, the direct disciple of Beast Tamer King Gu Guzhu. When the Celestial Palace Master received the letter sent by the people of Beast Tamer King's Valley, he was in a bad mood. Killing a core disciple of Beast Tamer King's Valley? It was not like there was something wrong with their brains. A third-class sect clashed with a first-class sect. However, the people of Beast Tamer King's Valley spoke eloquently, and even said that they had Celestial Palace's keepsake as proof. They wanted the people of Celestial Palace to give an explanation. Otherwise, they would personally come to ask for an explanation. The Master of Celestial Palace cursed in his heart. Recently, he had been investigating this matter in order to find out who was trying to harm them behind the scenes. Who was so vicious? They could even find the secret keepsake of Celestial Palace. Don't let him find out who it was. Chapter 1926. The eyes of the Celestial Palace's master were unusually cold. At this moment, one of the Celestial Palace elders hesitantly said, "Perhaps, this isn't an ordinary trap, Palace Master. The people of Beast Taming King's Valley may have the intention to attack us." He said. "What do you mean by that?" The Celestial Palace Master looked at him coldly, his brows tightly knitted together. The people of Beast Taming King's Valley deliberately attacked them? You mean to say that the people of Beast Taming King's Valley deliberately arranged this at the birthday banquet in order to have a reason to attack us of Celestial Palace? The Celestial Palace Master said, his brows tightly knitted together. What good would this do them? Beast Taming King's Valley was a first-rate sect among first-rate sects. Even the first-rate sects of the hidden world had to give them some face. After all, the beast-taming ability of Beast Taming King's Valley was extremely powerful. Provoking them was equivalent to provoking 2 or even 3 first-rate sections. Under such circumstances, who would go against the people of Beast Taming King's Valley? At the same time, why would the people of Beast Taming King's Valley go against a third-rate sect for no reason? Even a second-rate sect didn't have the qualifications to be looked at by them. The Celestial Palace Master didn't quite understand the meaning of this Celestial Palace Elder. It's like this. The Celestial Palace Elder frowned and said, "Palace Master, the token you mentioned, we found out." As he spoke, he glanced at the Empyrean Palace Master and continued, "If we didn't investigate wrongly, the origin of the token should be from one of the 3 guardians who were ordered to investigate that matter. The moment these words came out, the Celestial Palace Master's expression suddenly froze. What you're saying is, that's right, Palace Master. We suspect that the 3 protectors have been killed, and the people who did it were from beast-taming King's Valley. The Celestial Palace Elder said worriedly. The 3 protectors were all Saint Kings, and one of them was even a peak Saint King. In the true Spill continent, in such a backward and secular land, how could there possibly be someone who could endanger their safety? The only possibility was that someone from the beast-taming King's Valley had killed them and taken away their tokens. He had deliberately set up a trap during the birthday banquet to make it easier for him to attack the people of Celestial Palace. As for why the other party did this, Palace Master, don't forget what the 3 guardians were investigating. The Celestial Palace Elder reminded him softly. Hearing this, the Celestial Palace Master was shocked. Then, his expression became incomparably ugly. Of course, he wouldn't forget what the 3 protectors were investigating. Before this, Elder Xie had obtained a secret order to bring information about the map to True Spill continent. After that, he mysteriously disappeared. He had sent out 3 core disciples who were slightly stronger to investigate, but those people had been killed by the people of the Breeze Pavilion. Although he didn't know the reason for this, whether it was because of a conflict or something else, he still sent the 3 protectors to follow the people from the Breeze Pavilion to see if they could find any clues. So now, those 3 people had been killed? Not only that, but the things they had were also used by the people from beast-taming King's Valley to slander them? If this was the case, then the purpose of the people from beast-taming King's Valley was obvious. Their goal is the map of the fallen immortal land? And it was possible that they had already succeeded. Thinking of this, the Celestial Palace Master's expression became extremely ugly. Chapter 1927. Bang! Luo Qingtong's figure appeared at the entrance of Celestial Palace. A Celestial Palace disciple stepped forward and was about to speak when Luo Qingtong kicked him. Bang! The Celestial Palace disciple's figure instantly slammed into the door and slid through the entrance. Junior brother. The Celestial Palace disciples near the entrance were instantly enraged and rushed towards Luo Qingtong. Surround her. How dare you cause trouble in Celestial Palace? How dare you? A group of people rushed towards Luo Qingtong aggressively. Seeing the Celestial Palace disciples rushing over, Luo Qingtong raised her eyebrows and said, "Tell your palace master to come out. Just say, the disciples of beast-taming King's Valley are here on orders." As Luo Qingtong's voice rang out, the Celestial Palace disciples rushing towards Luo Qingtong instantly stopped. You're a disciple of beast-taming King's Valley? The group of people looked at Luo Qingtong in surprise and then asked, "What proof do you have? Even if I have proof, do you deserve to see it?" Luo Qingtong looked at them with disdain. "Tell your palace master to come out himself." Hearing this, the Celestial Palace disciples gritted their teeth but did not dare to delay. They hurriedly sent people to inform the Celestial Palace master and the others. The latter and the others were discussing this matter in the conference hall and were shocked when they heard this. "Let's go and see." The Celestial Palace master's expression was very serious. If the people of beast-taming King's Valley really did get the treasure map, they would definitely attack them in order to keep it a secret. But what if they guessed wrong? The Celestial Palace master felt that before the matter was confirmed, it was better to act prudently. The group of people walked outside. Soon, they appeared in front of Luo Qingtong. "Which disciple of beast-taming King's Valley are you?" The Celestial Palace master looked at Luo Qingtong and said. "Nightai." Luo Qingtong's lips curled up. The matter of her falling out with the beast-taming King's Valley hadn't been exposed yet. In the eyes of outsiders, Luo Qingtong was still a disciple of the beast-taming King's Valley. Moreover, she was a disciple that was highly valued by the beast-taming King Gu Guzhu. Most of the sects in the hidden world knew about what happened at the birthday banquet. It's you? The Celestial Palace Master was furious. Luo Qingtong was the one who stood out during the birthday banquet and exposed them for colluding with the beast-taming King's Valley's apprentice disciple. Although Luo Qingtong was most likely following orders. However, since she was the one who did it, the Master of Celestial Palace naturally did not treat her kindly. I don't know what you're here for. He looked coldly at Luo Qingtong. Naturally, I'm here to deliver an order on behalf of our sect. Luo Qingtong's lips curled up slightly. She looked at the Celestial Palace Master and the others, then raised her hand and threw a package in her hand over. The Valley Master asked me to come and return this to you. In addition, Luo Qingtong's lips curled up. Our Valley Master said to take care of yourselves. Don't wait for us to make a move. As for what it is. She looked up at the Celestial Palace Master and the others, smiled calmly, and said, I believe that you will understand. After Luo Qingtong finished speaking, the faces of the Celestial Palace Master and the others instantly darkened. Take care of yourselves. Don't wait for them to make a move. Do you understand what I mean? The more they thought about it, the more uncertain it was. At this moment, a Celestial Palace elder saw something. Something rolled out from the package that Luo Qingtong threw out. Chapter 1928. This is, the Celestial Palace elder's expression was extremely ugly, not for anything else, but the things in the package that Luo Qingtong threw out were all left behind by the three Celestial Palace protectors. Luo Qingtong had left behind some symbolic things in case of an emergency, but now they came in handy. She brought these things to Celestial Palace in order to thoroughly confirm the conflict between Celestial Palace and beast-taming King's Valley. Luo Qingtong knew that she and the people of beast-taming King's Valley had a falling out. They would never believe her previous accusation against Celestial Palace, so they would inevitably continue to look for the culprit. For that superior serious flower, if Grand Elder was able to cultivate one, he would be able to cultivate another one. Previously, she used the people of Celestial Palace to divert the attention of the Supreme Elder and the others, making them think that they already knew the culprit and didn't need to continue investigating. But now, her identity had been exposed, so the Supreme Elder might continue to investigate. At that time, the true Spill Continent would be exposed. And Celestial Palace would no longer be threatened by beast-taming King's Valley, so they wouldn't link the map of the land of the deceased immortals to beast-taming King's Valley. At that time, if they continued to investigate, they would inevitably find her. How could Luo Qingtong let them do that? Naturally, she wanted to thoroughly confirm the conflict between them, and let them bite each other. Beast-taming King's Valley's route was no longer feasible, so couldn't she go to Celestial Palace? Luo Qingtong's lips curled up slightly. As long as the people of Celestial Palace were sure that the people of beast-taming King's Valley were going to attack them because of the map of the land of the deceased immortals, it would be useless no matter what the people of beast-taming King's Valley said. Who asked them to make things difficult for the Celestial Palace after the birthday banquet? When the Celestial Palace retaliated, no one would believe that the beast-taming King's Valley would reveal that they weren't disciples of the beast-taming King's Valley and were actually spies. At least, the people of Celestial Palace wouldn't believe it. That was why Luo Qingtong told Yi Qianxian to come to the Celestial Palace as soon as he left the beast-taming King's Valley. He wanted to deliver a gift to the people of Celestial Palace before that. At the same time, it was to give the beast-taming King's Valley a gift. Luo Qingtong's smile became more and more enchanting. She looked at the angry faces of the Celestial Palace people in front of her. Suddenly, she leaped into the air and said, "That's all I have to say. You Celestial Palace people can decide for yourselves. However, I advise you to be tactful and end it yourselves. From now on, there will be no more Celestial Palace in the hidden world. Otherwise, when the beast-taming King's Valley makes a move, you will know what it means to be truly regretful." Luo Qingtong really took the matter of the beast-taming King's Valley to the extreme. Her words were full of disdain and arrogance. The Celestial Palace Master looked at her incomparably arrogant appearance and then looked at the Celestial Palace Protector's things that she threw on the ground. He was so angry that he clenched his teeth. Bastard! The people of beast-taming King's Valley are really too much. Not only did he snatch away the secret of the land of the deceased immortals that the Celestial Palace had racked their brains to obtain, but he also deliberately made them the scapegoat during the birthday banquet for the sake of attacking the Celestial Palace's people. That was fine, but now, because of this matter, they actually wanted the people of Celestial Palace to end their own lives. Chapter 1929. This really touched the bottom line of the Celestial Palace Master. Their ancestors had painstakingly established the Supreme Celestial Palace, and with great difficulty, they had managed to develop it into a third-rate sect in the hidden world. The people of beast-taming King's Valley crippled them, and even wanted them to end their own lives. This was simply intolerable. Moreover, they were the first to discover the map of the fallen immortal land. The people of beast-taming King's Valley intercepted them halfway, and snatched the map of the fallen immortal land that they wanted. Now, he actually wanted to attack them. Did they really think that the Celestial Palace was easy to bully, and that the people of beast-taming King's Valley were already invincible in the hidden world? The Celestial Palace Master was so angry that blood rushed to his head. He looked at Luo Qingtong's back as she left, and then coldly said, "You guys look after the sect, I'll immediately go to the Star Alliance Hall." The people of beast-taming King's Valley didn't let him off easily, and he also didn't let them off easily. If they want to touch the Celestial Palace, then let the people of beast-taming King's Valley come. At worst, they'll fight to the death. Also, spread the news about this map in the hidden world. The people of beast-taming King's Valley thought that the people of Celestial Palace didn't dare to resist, and wanted to eat it alone. He'll see if they can eat it in the end. The Celestial Palace Master angrily left. At this time, Luo Qingtong had already returned to Yi Qianqian's side. How was it? She looked at the man standing under the tree with a smile, and said, "I said I'll be back soon, right?" She slightly narrowed her pair of crescent moon-like eyes and looked at Yi Qianqian. "Yes." The man turned around and glanced at her. "You'll be back soon." He stood there, but he heard a lot of movements in the Celestial Palace. This woman's movements weren't small when she went in, but now she came out unscathed. Yi Qianqian looked deeply at Luo Qingtong. "What are you doing? Why are you looking at me like that?" Luo Qingtong looked into his deep eyes and raised her eyebrows slightly. "Could it be that you want me to reward you for being obedient?" As she spoke, her gaze swept past him with a snicker, and meaningfully circled around him 2 or 3 times. Finally, she stopped at the man's thin and sexy lips. She licked her lips slightly and thought of the kiss when she left. She still wanted to continue. Yi Qianqian looked at her meaningful gaze, then suddenly strode over to where she was. His long hair fluttered, and his long sleeves danced. He walked up to her and then lowered his head slightly to look at the young girl standing in front of him. In front of him, the latter never knew what restraint and modesty were, however, he liked it very much. "If you want to scheme against me, you can tell me directly. You don't have to be so secretive. I'm happy to fulfill your wish." As Yi Qianqian spoke, he lowered his head and kissed Luo Qingtong's lips. The young girl's lips were soft and there seemed to be a fragrance in the kiss, causing Yi Qianqian to be intoxicated. He bent down to kiss her, but Luo Qingtong chuckled and kissed him back. "Shouldn't I be the one saying that? If you want a reward, just say it. I won't laugh at you." Huh. Luo Qingtong's laughter was finally swallowed by Yi Qianqian's mouth. The two of them were lovey-dovey under the tree. In the distance, the sun was setting in the west. Everything was beautiful in front of them. Chapter 1930. Luo Qingtong and Yi Qianxian didn't immediately leave the hidden world. Instead, they settled down in a city on the edge of the hidden world. This city was located in a barren land near the edge of the hidden world. Generally speaking, when one tore through space to reach the true Spill continent, they would pass through there. Bei Qing, Wind Feather, and the others, when Luo Qingtong and Yi Qianxian left the beast-taming King Valley, they sensed the changes in the beast-taming King Valley. Following Yi Qianxian's message, they rushed over to join them. At this moment, a group of people were eating in a restaurant, listening to the gossip and whispers of the people around them. "Hey, have you guys heard? Something big happened in the center of the hidden world." At the next table, a cultivator said in a low voice. "Yeah, we all heard about it. Is it the matter between the beast-taming King Valley and the Celestial Palace?" The people next to them all followed and expressed their opinions. "Yes, it's that matter." The martial artist said, "I heard that it's a big mess." The people of the Celestial Palace said that the people of the beast-taming King Valley deliberately slandered them and wanted to attack them. For this reason, they specially invited the people of the Star Alliance to support them. "Yeah." Another martial artist said, "I heard that it was because the people of the beast-taming King Valley obtained a map of the Graveyard of Immortals. And the news of this map was obtained by the people of the Celestial Palace first. The people of the beast-taming King Valley forcibly snatched it and killed their people. Finally, they slandered the people of the Celestial Palace for attacking them at the birthday banquet of the Valley Master's daughter. They wanted to harm the beast-taming King Valley. The people of the Celestial Palace were not willing to be slandered, so they went to ask the people of the Star Alliance for help. For this reason, the matter of the map of the Graveyard of Immortals was exposed. But I heard that the people of the beast-taming King Valley refused to admit it." The martial artist said. "They didn't just refuse to admit it." Another martial artist said. "I heard that they directly announced to the public that Night Eye wasn't a member of the beast-taming King Valley, but a spy from the outside who deliberately attacked them. She's an enemy of the beast-taming King Valley." The martial artist said he curled his lips. "Who are they trying? This move of the beast-taming King Valley is too clumsy. Who doesn't know that Night Eye is the direct disciple of the beast-tamer King Valley's Valley Master? I heard that her talent is beasts. Because he even taught S's directly taught, he was directly teach S's A's. And spill SSS. Vase and sets SSS Immortals. Thems. Tion. This is so fake. That's right. No one believed the words of the people of the beast-taming King Valley. Of all the times to accuse someone of being a spy and an enemy, it had to be when the news of the treasure map was spread by the people of the Celestial Palace. No matter how you looked at it, it looked like they were deliberately trying to deny and distance themselves from the matter. While the group of people were discussing, Luo Qingtong and Yi Qianxian were eating, but the corners of their lips suddenly curled up. The people of the Celestial Palace and the people of the beast-taming King Valley were indeed arguing. Things were developing exactly as Luo Qingtong expected. Chapter 1931. When the beast-taming King's Valley announced their identity, it would only make people think that they were trying to hide the fact that they had the map of the Graveyard of Immortals. According to the news spread by the Celestial Palace, it was likely that all the first-rate sects had gone to look for the beast-taming King's Valley. It was unknown how badly battered the beast-taming King Guguju and the rest were right now. In fact, the beast-taming King Guguju and the rest were indeed about to go crazy. They had just finished dealing with the aftermath of Luo Qingtong and Yi Qianxian's departure at the secret location behind the beast-taming King's Valley. Afterwards, they were preparing to issue a warrant to the outside world to track down the whereabouts of Luo Qingtong and Yi Qianxian. However, before they could do anything, the Celestial Palace had already launched an attack. When they found out that it was because of Luo Qingtong's trip to the Celestial Palace that caused this series of events, they almost fainted from anger. Bitch, this bitch. The beast-taming King Gu Guju was so angry that he couldn't breathe. Luo Qingtong had ruined the secret location of the beast-taming King's Valley and peeped at their secrets for so many years. Wasn't that enough? She had even made the beast-taming King's Valley carry such a huge pot of blame. The beast-taming King Gu Guju didn't know that the attack on the Celestial Palace was actually related to the treasure map of the Graveyard of Immortals. If he had known earlier, he would never have let Luo Qingtong go. He would have risked his life to make her stay. After all, there was no need to think about it. The deaths of the Celestial Palace people were definitely caused by Luo Qingtong. The treasure map must have fallen into her hands. However, no one would believe the words of the beast-taming King Gu Guju. Who would believe it? Your beast-taming King's Valley disciple was highly valued by you before. Oh, in the end, you said that everything was a scheme of hers. Your beast-taming King's Valley, which had always been arrogant and despotic, was fooled by a little girl. Not only did that person make a fool out of you, but he also made you carry a huge black pot on your backs. Hee hee. The crowd of first-rate sects looked at the beast-taming King Gu Guju and the others as if they were looking at a fool. Otherwise, it would mean that the beast-taming King Valley Master and the others were treating them like fools. The reason why the first-grade sects came was naturally because of the map. They hoped to cooperate with the beast-taming King's Valley. After all, the treasure map of Immortals was pointed to the location of Immortals. They taming King's Valley's Valley Wood to obtain the treasure map, taming King's Valley's Valley Woods Valley's People's Valley to obtain some benefits. When the time comes, to obtain the treasure's Valley of Immortals, the Valley's Valleys sits its to have the best was to have's valleys. They's to the, were to them to be to them's. Was they were beasts to be foes Valley IMS. The group of people immediately flicked their sleeves and left, not saying anything else. In any case, the people from beast-taming King Valley wouldn't go to the fallen immortal land unless they wanted to. Otherwise, wouldn't they be able to follow them? But at that time, they wouldn't be so easy to talk to. The group of people left angrily. The beast-tamer King Gu Guju was so angry that he trembled. That bitch! He gritted his teeth. Luo Qingtong's actions caused their beast-taming King Valley to offend the majority of the first-grade sects in the hidden world. Chapter 1932. He recalled that the people from the Star Alliance Palace had brought the people from Celestial Palace here. They hoped that the people from beast-taming King's Valley would not attack the people from Celestial Palace. They also wanted him to take out the treasure map and share it with the people from Celestial Palace. The beast-taming King Valley's Valley Master cursed in his heart. Naturally, he knew what the people from the Star Alliance Palace were planning. The land of the deceased immortals rejected outsiders from entering. Even when their aura was weak, it was still not allowed. Once a xenorace expert from the outside entered it, they would be instantly crushed. No one knew the reason for this. The most popular rumor was that all the foreign experts had died in the battle there. If they couldn't obtain the treasure, they wouldn't allow other foreign powerhouses to obtain it. That was why foreign powerhouses were killed as soon as they entered. Not only that, but powerhouses above the Paragon realm were also not allowed to enter. Therefore, even powerhouses that left the true Spill continent were not allowed to re-enter. The people from the Star Alliance Palace had always been curious about what kind of treasure was in there. But because they couldn't enter, they gave up. The people from Celestial Palace came to find them. They must have promised to give them the treasure. Therefore, the people from the Star Alliance Palace helped the people from Celestial Palace and came to find him to negotiate. But beast-taming King Gu Guju didn't have the treasure map to the land of the deceased immortals. Even the existence of the treasure map was only known to him after the people from Celestial Palace spread the news. At that time, he was so angry that he almost fainted. With such a big black pot on his back, how could he explain to the people from the Star Alliance Palace that he really didn't know about the treasure map to the land of the deceased immortals? Beast-taming King Guguju trembled in anger as he thought of the expression on the face of the messenger from the Star Alliance Palace. But there was no way to save him. Unless he agreed to cooperate with the people from Celestial Palace and took out the treasure map. But the treasure map wasn't in his hands. Take what? The beast-tamer King Guguju was so angry that he trembled as if he had Parkinson's disease. This was a dead knot. It was all that bitch Night Eye's trap. Once he caught her, he would definitely make her die a horrible death. While beast-tamer King Guguju was gnashing his teeth in anger, Luo Qingtong got the answer she wanted and immediately left the hidden world. Instead, he returned to True Spill Continent with Yi Qianxian. Schwa. True Spill Continent, Southern Domain. Luo Qingtong's figure skimmed among them. Yi Qianxian and the others returned to the Black Field to settle some matters. She went to the southern region alone. After all, Su Yu and the others were still hunting the monsters at the bottom of the cliff. I wonder how much their strength has improved. But according to Luo Qingtong's estimation, most of the monsters at the bottom of the cliff should have been killed by them. When Luo Qingtong returned, she could refine the remaining immortal jade bones for them. At that time, their strength would be able to rise to another level. Luo Qingtong's lips suddenly curled up as she thought of this. At this moment, Southern Domain, in the space at the bottom of the cliff. Su Yu and the others went deep into the space at the bottom of the cliff. They were very close to the place where Yi Qianxian had closed the passage. Moreover, the demon beasts that remained here were even stronger. Pang pang pang. Chapter 1933. With the increase in their strength, they were no longer limited to hunting ordinary monsters. The monsters they were hunting were all at the Saint Lord realm. It was the same as the Saint Lord realm monster that Luo Qingtong had killed before. This Saint Lord realm monster was also formed from the fusion of many monsters. It was powerful, its skin was as hard as iron, and its body was extremely huge. It was extremely fast, and it was unknown what kind of monster it had fused with. It was like a sky full of whip shadows that swept towards Su Yu, Su Xiaoxiao, and the others. The power of each attack was comparable to the full-strength attack of an ordinary Saint Lord realm expert. Su Yu, Su Xiaoxiao, and the others, as well as Tian Xie's group, were very calm as they dealt with it. After working together for a long time, their movements seemed to be very coordinated. First column. Raise your spears. Second column, get ready. Su Yu's voice rang out in an orderly manner. At the same time, she didn't stop attacking. The thunder beast beside her roared as it charged towards the mountain-like monster in front of it. The powerful impact and explosive force, as well as the power of lightning surrounding it, allowed it to firmly withstand the Saint Lord realm monster's attack. It didn't give the monster a chance to crush Su Yu, Tian Xie, and the others' formation. Behind the Saint Lord realm monster, little Tyrant Yuan's muscles were bulging. His skin instantly turned into a cold and hard golden color, and he firmly cooperated with the thunder beast from behind to block the Saint Lord realm monster's body. They trapped the monster between them, making it easier for Su Yu and the others to attack. Bang bang bang. The blood vessels all over little Tyrant Yuan's body exploded one by one. His current strength had already reached the Saint Expert level. Under the power of the Soul Seal, his defense and attack power could reach the level of a beginner Saint Lord. However, compared to this Saint Lord realm monster, his strength was still a bit lacking. Fortunately, he wasn't fighting alone. Swish! Swish! In the front, Su Xiaoxiao and the others formed a small team. Su Xiaoxiao's expression was solemn as her fingers danced. Streaks of light from the medicinal liquid were drawn out by her, forming streaks of half-black and half-white light in the air. Half of it was holy medicine, and the other half was poison. Medicine and poison in one. Su Xiaoxiao's alchemy skills had been refined by her for a long time. Coupled with her own strange alchemy talent, she had achieved a divine alchemy skill that ordinary people could not achieve. Shua. With a point of Su Xiaoxiao's finger, the black and white liquid turned into gas and entered Yuan Little Overlord, the Thunder Beast, and the Saint Lord Monster's body. When these medicinal liquids entered the bodies of Yuan Little Overlord and the Thunder Beast, they turned into good medicine that could heal and enhance their strength. When they entered the Saint Lord Realm Monster's body, they turned into streams of corrosive liquid that rampaged through the monster's body. This caused the Saint Lord Realm Monster to let out a sharp cry of extreme pain, and its body became even more violent. Sima Ju, Ling Tianhan, Ling Yu, and the others were wandering around it at this time. Bind. The purple silk in Ling Yu's hand instantly bound the Saint Lord Realm Monster, while Ling Tianhan, Sima Ju, and the others rushed up at this time. Chapter 1934. At the same time, the heavenly diabolism also attacked. Boom boom boom. One attack after another landed on the Saint Marquis monster. Because of the suppression from the Lightning Beast and Yuan Little Tyrant, every attack landed on the monster's vitals. Roar. The Saint Overlord struggled violently and broke free from the pincer attack of the Lightning Beast and Yuan Little Overlord. Bang! The Lightning Beast and Yuan Little Tyrant were sent flying by the Saint Lord Monster's violent struggle. The man and beast fell heavily to the ground. At this moment, Suyu moved. Lightning strike. Suyu's body was surrounded by an extremely powerful and terrible power of thunder and lightning. She suddenly raised her hand. In an instant, a huge sword formed by lightning, together with the attacks of Tian Xia and the others, slammed into the Saint Marquis monster, causing it to howl and retreat. Roar. The Saint Marquis monster struggled in its death throes. Its countless tails retracted and stabbed towards Suyu viciously. At this moment, the sound of a zither rang out. Mountains have trees and trees have branches. My heart pleases my lord, but he does not know. The melancholy song mixed with the sound of the zither and waves of sound waves spread out. Images of green bamboos, trees, and blooming peach blossoms appeared in midair. Then, bang! All of a sudden, the images exploded. The green bamboos, trees, and peach blossoms all turned into murderous intents that rushed toward the Saint Marquis monster. Su Xiaoxiao, Su Yu, Ling Tianhan, Sima Ju, and the heavenly diabolism group also attacked at this moment. Boom boom boom. The Saint Lord monster was completely engulfed by the barrage of attacks. In an instant, a shrill and mournful voice rang out. The Saint Lord monster fell to the ground and didn't get up again. Done. Ling Yu jumped onto the Saint Overlord monster and dug out the huge Saint Overlord immortal jade bone from its broken flesh. Wow! It's so big. It's enough for us to split. She cried out. The immortal jade bone clearly hadn't been completely merged. It was like a huge rock and was as big as 10 of Ling Yu's heads. Although it wasn't as pure and powerful as the immortal jade bone Luo Qingtong had, it was huge. Who knew how many monsters this Saint Lord monster had devoured to form this immortal jade bone? The heavenly diabolism group was very happy to see this immortal jade bone. Even if they could only get a small piece of this immortal jade bone, it was enough to raise their strength to another level. Of course, they had to wait for Luo Qingtong to refine it. Sigh, the monsters at the bottom of the cliff should have been cleared. This is most likely the last one. I wonder when boss will come back. Ling Yu said in a bored tone. Next to her, little tyrant Yuan got up while vomiting blood. Then, he said to her speechlessly, "My lady, you can talk and jump, but can you not keep stepping on me? I'm seriously injured." He was already injured to this extent. Couldn't this woman be more careful? Chapter 1935. If it weren't for little tyrant Yuan's own vitality and the petrification soul imprint not being completely removed, his injuries would have definitely worsened. At that time, he might not have died at the hands of this Saint Lord Realm monster, but at her feet. Cough. Sorry, I didn't see. Ling Yu stuck out her tongue, only to find that little tyrant Yuan was pressed down not far from the Saint Lord Realm monster. She really didn't notice him down there. Little tyrant Yuan was silently swallowing his tears, feeling that his presence was unusually low. A low laugh instantly sounded from a place not far away. Then, Luo Qingtong's figure walked out of the thick black fog at the bottom of the cliff. Boss, Master. Seeing Luo Qingtong's figure, little tyrant Yuan and the others instantly called out. Then, the group of people all surrounded Luo Qingtong in surprise. Boss, you're back. Little tyrant Yuan was jolted, and there was no trace of the serious injuries he said before. He rushed to Luo Qingtong and asked eagerly, Boss, how was it? Was the hidden world fun? Did anyone bully you? When he said this, his eyes were shining. Luo Qingtong was very suspicious. He actually wanted to ask if anyone bullied her, and then was tortured by her to the point of doubting life. The corner of her mouth twitched slightly. She didn't know if it was lucky or unlucky to have such a subordinate. These people were too eager to see the world in chaos, weren't they? It was fine. The corner of Luo Qingtong's mouth twitched. She didn't tell them that she had already gone against the #1 sect in the hidden world, beast-taming King Valley, and messed up their nest. In the end, she even schemed against them. She didn't know how the people from beast-taming King Valley would go crazy. She looked at Su Yu and the others. How's your strength? Her eyes swept over Su Yu, Su Xiaoxiao, and the others. When the latter and the others saw her gaze sweep over, they instantly straightened their backs and released their auras. Let Luo Qingtong examine their strength. After Luo Qingtong left, they had been desperately trying to improve their strength. After absorbing the purified immortal jade bones, they began to temper their combat abilities. In front of Luo Qingtong, he was very confident. Boss. I'm already a mid-level saint expert. Yuan little tyrant raised his head proudly. Meanwhile, behind him, Sima Ju opened his mouth and spat out a few words, Peak Sacred Expert Realm. High-level Saint Master, Ling Tianhan said. Mid-level Sacred Expert Realm. Ling Yu said with a smile. Boss, am I especially powerful? Chu Wenhao, Ling Tianchen, and the others also reported their strength. Meanwhile, Su Xiaoxiao's face was a bit embarrassed, saying with a bit of embarrassment, just entered the Sacred Expert Realm. In the team, her strength was the weakest. Su Xiaoxiao felt like she was about to cry. Su Yu and the others didn't say anything. There were too many people on their side. If all of them spoke, it would be very messy. It was better to let the master see it herself. Luo Qingtong's gaze swept over them and found that most of their strength was around the high-level Saint Realm. There were only a few low-level Saint Realm experts. Immediately, they were very satisfied. The people of Heavenly Diabolism's hunting speed wasn't as fast as Su Xiaoxiao's team, so they got more immortal jade bones. With their current strength, it was already very good. Su Yu's strength was the strongest. Chapter 1936. Because of this, she also received more immortal jade bones, and her strength naturally increased faster than others. Her current strength was already very close to the level of Saint General. Very good. Luo Qingtong looked at them and slightly curled her lips. Su Yu and the others did not disappoint her. Their current strength was already very good. There was still a period of time left, enough for their strength to increase a little more. At that time, they would be able to go with her to the land of the fallen immortals in the hidden world. Hee hee. Little Tyrant Yuan laughed proudly. Of course, don't you see who we are under? He raised his hand and patted his chest hard. He instantly patted his wound and couldn't help but cough violently. Sima Ju and the others looked at him speechlessly. This guy was really too good at flattering, right? Could it be that his usual recklessness and thoughtlessness were all an act? Damn, he was too sinister. Luo Qingtong looked at him with a smile that was not a smile. Take this. She threw a pill to little Tyrant Yuan. The other party was injured by that Saint Lord Realm monster. Ordinary medicinal liquid could temporarily heal it, but it could not cure the root of the problem. The internal injury was still there, and it would definitely become a hidden danger to the body in the future. He had to take the pill. This was also the reason why alchemists were so sought after. After reaching a certain level, the medicinal liquid would not be of much use. Luo Qingtong also threw one to Su Yu and let her feed it to the Thunder Beast. The latter had already shrunk in size and was held in Su Yu's arms. At this moment, it was looking at Luo Qingtong with a pair of big eyes. Its nose was constantly twitching, and it was unknown what it was sniffing. It looked at Luo Qingtong with a puzzled gaze. Its nose is quite sharp. Luo Qingtong knew that it most likely smelled the fragrance of the superior Sirius flower that it had come into contact with before. It seemed that not only the superior Sirius flower could sense the Thunder Beast, but the Thunder Beast that was trapped by the purple jade mind fruit could also sense the superior Sirius flower. Fortunately, she was the one who destroyed the superior Sirius. Otherwise, if the people from the beast-taming King's Valley were to find this place, the lightning beast would probably come looking for it after smelling the fragrance. At that time, Su Yu and the others would definitely be exposed. The deaths of Han Dong and the others could no longer be hidden. Luo Qingtong raised her eyebrows. At this moment, a voice sounded. Master. One of them appeared in front of Luo Qingtong, holding a zither. Luo Qingtong's eyes lit up when she saw her. Yen Yang, your strength. The person who appeared in front of Luo Qingtong was surprisingly Hu Yenyang. Her current strength had already surpassed the Saint Realm. Although he was much weaker than Su Yu and the others. However, when he thought about how she had only started to recover not long ago and was able to cultivate, he thought about it. Her strength had improved at a godly speed. Of course, this was also because of the wood spirit heart that Luo Qingtong had left for her. Otherwise, Yen Yang's strength would not have been able to rise to such a high level. Even if she had the foundation of cultivation from more than 10 years ago, it was still the same. Yes, my strength has already surpassed the Saint Realm. Hu Yenyang smiled at Luo Qingtong as she hugged her zither. Not only that, because her soul imprint was special, she had awakened a sound wave soul imprint. Hu Yenyang's control of sound waves had greatly increased, and she had already become a soul sound master. All the sounds in the world, including the zither and her own voice. She could stack attacks in her hands. Chapter 1937. When they killed the Saint Lord monster, it was Hu Yenyang who used the sound wave technique to confuse the Saint Lord monster. Then, they joined forces with Su Yu and the others to kill it. Otherwise, the Saint Lord monster would have struggled for a long time. During this time, it was likely to cause casualties to the heavenly diabolism. Ha! Luo Qingtong looked at her and laughed, asking, how is it? Do you feel strong? Very good. Hu Yenyang's lips curved up. She stroked the zither in her hand and slightly squeezed it. Before she met Luo Qingtong, no, it should be said that before Luo Qingtong helped her recuperate, she never thought that she would be able to cultivate one day. Moreover, she had awakened such a powerful sound wave spirit seal. All her glory and strength belonged to her master. With strength, it meant that if she met the man who took her away in the future, she would be able to find a way to take him back. Her son was brought up by her single-handedly. Even if he was that man's son, with his blood flowing in his body, he was still Yen Nyang's son. No one could snatch him away from her. Master, thank you. She bowed deeply to Luo Qingtong. Don't say this. Luo Qingtong smiled and said, just take care of some things for me in the future. Luo Qingtong looked at Hu Yennyang and was very happy in her heart. Hu Yennyang's strength increasing was also something she had always hoped for. After all, the people around her were not material to be in charge of forces. The only one who could manage forces for her and not let her worry was Hu Yennyang. But she could not stay in the true Spill continent forever. She had to go to the outer realms. This had nothing to do with Yi Qianxian's identity or the disappearance of the original owner's parents. But Luo Qingtong herself was not willing to stay in a corner. She wanted to go out and see more people, and live a more exciting life. Then, Yen Nyang and the others must follow her footsteps. Before this, Luo Qingtong had been quite worried. If Yen Nyang couldn't cultivate, then how would she leave True Spill continent with her? If he left her in the True Spill continent, that would be far too much of a waste. What a waste of her excellent management skills. Now, everything has been settled. Not only was Yen Nyang not weak, she was also a rare soul sound master. Even among soul masters, they were extremely powerful. Luo Qingtong's worries disappeared. In the future, he could bring her with him to the outer realms. Hu Yennyang smiled and nodded at Luo Qingtong. That's what Yen Nyang should do. Luo Qingtong saved her life, helped her family, and helped her recover her identity as a cultivator. No matter how strong Hu Yennyang would become in the future, she would only be Luo Qingtong's #1 housekeeper. Heavenly Diabolism Steward Yen. Luo Qingtong's expression was indifferent. She nodded at them and said, all right, all of you return to Imperial City. I will purify the remaining immortal jade bones for you. Continue to improve your strength. After a while, the aura of the fallen immortal land will weaken. I will take you there to train and level up. In the future, you will leave True Spill continent with me and go to the outer realms. Luo Qingtong's voice sounded. Instantly, Yuan Little Overlord and the others responded in unison. Yes. Master, boss. Everyone's voices were very loud. Then, they rushed towards Imperial City with expectant faces. Chapter 1938. Yu Sihuang was looking at a certain man in front of him. The veins on his forehead were popping out. You damn transvestite, that's enough. Imperial Emperor Sect Master, how can you say that about this servant? It's really too sad. Opposite Yu Sihuang, Xiaofan was wearing a red muslin robe. His face had a charming and enchanting expression. That gorgeous face was even more enchanting than Yu Sihuang. At this moment, he was waving the feather fan in his hand. On the other hand, he raised his orchid finger and instructed the people around him, remember, Imperial Emperor Sect Master insulted this servant today. You're forbidden from approaching the demonic doctor for a day. Fuck. The veins on Yu Sihuang's forehead popped out. I'm telling you, you damn transvestite, don't go too far. So what if I insulted you? Why should I be recorded once? Yu Sihuang's entire person was about to explode. When Luo Qingtong and Yi Qianxian left, he was in seclusion and didn't know. When he came out of seclusion, Luo Qingtong and Yi Qianxian had already left. Xiaofan was sent over from the Black Field to look after Su Yu and the others. This was to prevent another attack from the Breeze Pavilion. At first, Yu Sihuang didn't feel anything. Later, he realized something was wrong. This damn transvestite followed him 24 hours a day. Every day, he scolded Yi Qianxian several times and mentioned Tong Tong several times. He remembered it all clearly. He even had someone make a small book. He said that he would wait for Yi Qianxian to come back and show it to him. At that time, every time he was recorded, he wouldn't be able to get close to Luo Qingtong for a day. Yu Xihuang's mood after knowing this could only be described as, I don't know if I should say MMP in my heart. This damn transvestite. Yu Xihuang seriously suspected that he was deliberately left behind by Yi Qianxian to disgust him. At the same time, he stopped him from getting close to Luo Qingtong. That bastard was so sinister and cunning. He was really too hateful. Yu Xihuang glared at Zuo Fei. The latter gently waved the feather fan in her hand and looked at him with a pair of charming eyes. She said in an indescribably charming and enchanting manner, "Who asked this servant to be master's woman?" As the saying goes, if the lord is humiliated, the subject shall die, if the subject is humiliated, the master shall be punished. Imperial Emperor Sect leader, you insulted this servant, so naturally, you are scolding your master. What's wrong with me counting you once? As he spoke, he lifted his fan to cover his lips and chuckled, after all, who asked you to owe my master a favor? Don't you agree? Bei Qing and Feng Yu, those two pigs. Zuo Fei snorted inwardly. His master had such a big love rival, yet he didn't even know how to help him settle it. What the hell was he doing? As expected, he still had to make a move. Otherwise, what if the evil doctor was bewitched and left? One had to know that it was rare for master to be tempted. It was possible that this would be the only time. He naturally had to protect the mistress on behalf of his master and prevent anyone from touching her. Zuo Fei's words angered Yu Xihuang. According to what he said, wouldn't he never be able to get close to Luo Qingtong in this lifetime? This bastard was too much. Yu Xihuang was so angry that he wanted to hit someone. At this moment, the sound of an Imperial Emperor Sect disciple rushing in to report suddenly came from outside. Sect leader, the evil doctor and the others are back. Following this sound, Yu Xihuang's figure instantly disappeared in midair. Tong Tong. Imperial Emperor City, the place where Su Yu and the others were temporarily staying. Chapter 1939. Yu Xihuang. Luo Qingtong looked at him and smiled. At this moment, Zuo Fei's figure appeared behind Yu Xihuang. Mistress. He bowed respectfully to Luo Qingtong. That coquettish and flirtatious smile on her face had already disappeared. For Zuo Fei, Luo Qingtong was Yi Qianxian's personal choice of mistress. She deserved his respect. Naturally, he would not use the mask he used in front of outsiders to fool her. Yes. Luo Qingtong looked at him and nodded. Then, she asked in surprise, "You're Qianren's man?" Luo Qingtong had never seen Zuo Fei by Yi Qianxian's side. Under normal circumstances, Bei Qing and Feng Yu would be by Yi Qianxian's side. I'm in charge of intelligence by master's side. Seeing Luo Qingtong's doubts, Zuo Fei explained. Hearing this, Luo Qingtong understood at once. It was most likely because Bei Qing and Feng Yu had gone to the hidden world with her and the others. Therefore, Yi Qianxian had transferred people from the Black Field. He was afraid that the Breeze Pavilion's attack would happen again. Luo Qingtong's heart was very warm towards this man's thoughtfulness. Yi Qianxian had not told her about this matter, but he had done everything for her. That man he just refused to say anything nice. Stubborn duck. Thinking of Yi Qianxian's arrogance, Luo Qingtong's lips curled up. Yu Xihuang, who was beside them, saw Zuo Fei's change and exploded. This damn transvestite, he had disgusted him for so long. Was it all an act? He looked at Zuo Fei, who was more serious than anyone else, and the veins on his forehead popped. He grabbed Luo Qingtong and asked, "Tong. Qingtong, where's Yi Qianxian?" Yu Xihuang felt that he needed to get back his face. Wasn't it just owing her a favor? That bastard almost crushed him to death. No, I have to settle this as soon as possible. Yu Huang had no doubt that once Shuofei's booklet reached Yi Qianqian's side, that man would definitely follow the instructions written on it. That damn transvestite had recently recorded over 100 messages from him. Would he still want to get close to Luo Qingtong in the future? How could they bully people like that? Where is he? I want to compete with him. If I win, the favor will be written off. Pooh. Yu Huang's words haven't finished. Luo Qingtong couldn't stand still, she almost choked on her own saliva. She looked strangely at the angry Yu Huang in front of her. She didn't know what had provoked him. Looking for Yi Qianren to compete? Wasn't he looking for a beating? Luo Qingtong's lips twitched. She looked at Yu Huang's cultivation. Only then did she discover that his strength had increased, it was actually above her. His strength was already in the Saint Emperor realm. No wonder he was so confident. Luo Qingtong's heart was shocked. She knew that Yu Huang's previous strength was much stronger than hers. When they were in the Saint King's tomb in the western wilderness, Yu Huang's strength was most likely in the Saint Master realm. That's why he could barely resist the attack of those blood-colored demonic vines. After that, he used a forbidden technique to erupt his strength, and was able to stop Feng Wuan and the others. But even if that was the case, wasn't his strength rising too quickly? Chapter 1940. She didn't expect Yu Huang's strength to increase faster than her. The other party's physique was really not ordinary. Was it because his heart disease was cured? Luo Qingtong had heard Yu Huang mention before that all these years, because of his heart disease, he had been unable to smoothly increase his strength and use it. However, even so, Yu Huang still managed to develop the imperial sect to its current state and even became the king of the southern region. Now that Luo Qingtong had cured his heart disease, his strength had increased by leaps and bounds. If Luo Qingtong didn't guess wrongly, Yu Huang's background was probably not ordinary. She didn't know if the imperial sect master and his wife adopted him that year, was it a coincidence or something else, but even so, Yu Huang couldn't possibly beat Yi Qianxian. Luo Qingtong's lips twitched. She tactfully persuaded Yu Huang, cough, there's no need, right? You just increased your strength not long ago, you should stabilize it. Before she could finish her words, she was interrupted by Yu Huang's surging passion. No need. I've already consolidated it very well. Where's that bastard? Luo Qingtong didn't know that Yu Huang was angered by Shuofei during this period of time, he couldn't wait a moment longer. Luo Qingtong's lips twitched. Are you sure you want to compete with him? She tried her best. Yu Huang, I can't save you. Yu Huang's voice was impassioned. Definitely. He was still confident in his own strength. The strength of a Saint Emperor was not entirely dependent on the strength of the immortal jade bones. After all, the strongest immortal jade bone in this southern region space was only at the Saint Marquis realm, and it was given to him by Luo Qingtong. If Yu Huang relied on the immortal jade bones, it was impossible for him to reach the Saint Emperor realm. He relied on the inexplicable power in his heart to reach the Saint Emperor realm. Yu Huang didn't know what was going on. Ever since his heart disease was cured, a strange power kept gushing out from his heart. Yu Huang followed the flow of the strange energy in his body, and easily broke through the barrier in his body. It was as if this power was helping him improve. Yu Huang also did not know what these powers were. However, he knew that they existed in his heart. And his previous heart disease was very likely caused by someone from the very beginning. In short, under the influence of this power, Yu Huang's strength increased very quickly. With such an increase in strength, he felt that he was fully capable of fighting Yi Qianxian. First, I have to return the favor I owe that bastard. MMP. Yu Huang was so confident that Luo Qingtong couldn't stop him. Even if someone tried to stop him, he wouldn't believe it. He thought she was defending Yi Qianxian. Luo Qingtong's lips twitched violently. In the end, she had no choice but to tell him, Qianren has returned to the Black Field. Hearing this, Yu Sihuang's figure disappeared in an instant. Luo Qingtong looked at his disappearing figure. She really couldn't bear to look. She hoped that he wouldn't come back after being tortured to the point of doubting his life. Although this was very likely to be the reality. Cough. When your brother comes back, you have to properly comfort him. Luo Qingtong's lips twitched as she looked at Yu Xingqi, who was beside her. The latter hugged the little white cat in her arms and blinked her eyes. Then she decisively shook her head. No. She said seriously, I'm afraid that if I comfort him, he will want to beat me to death. Chapter 1941. Luo Qingtong thought of the way this brother and sister always got along and suddenly felt speechless. Forget it, let Yu Sihuang fend for himself. Abuse is good for physical and mental health. Luo Qingtong could only comfort herself like this. Anyway, Yi Qianxian wouldn't be too harsh on Yu Sihuang, so Luo Qingtong was relieved. After Zuo Fei heard that Yi Qianxian had returned to the Black Field, he also bowed to Luo Qingtong and left. He still had something to report to Yi Qianxian. Moreover, Luo Qingtong had also returned, so there was no need for him to continue to look after here. Luo Qingtong nodded to him, thanked him and sent him away. After a period of time, Luo Qingtong purified the power of the remaining immortal jade bones for Su Yu and the others. Old Master Luo and Empress Dowager Yan Shi had already returned to Great Chu. The foundation of the Luo family's disciples was a little weak, so they couldn't hunt those monsters later. Old Master Luo didn't want them to take advantage of the people of heavenly diabolism, so he and Empress Dowager Yan Shi took them away. Luo Qingtong returned to Great Chu and saw Old Master Luo and Empress Dowager Yan Shi. After letting them know that she was fine, she went into seclusion with Su Yu and the others in Imperial City. She had obtained a Saint King Realm Immortal Jade Bone from the Pavilion Master of the Breeze Pavilion before, but because she wanted to go to the beast-taming King Valley to find the whereabouts of her father, she hadn't used it yet. Now, there was still some time before the land of the deceased immortals opened, so she just took it. In this way, when going to the land of the deceased immortals, she would be more confident. There was also the ancient heavenly spiritual wood in Luo Qingtong's hands. Now, after absorbing the power of the immortal jade bones that Su Yu and the others hunted, the number of leaves it grew had reached 10. Luo Qingtong decided to take a leaf and eat it, so that she would have an extra soul seal. In this way, she would be able to unleash even more battle prowess. Luo Qingtong's lips curled up slightly. After purifying the power of the immortal jade bones obtained by Su Yu and the others, she began her closed-door cultivation. Her figure flashed as she entered the bottom of the pagoda. Little Pig was still sleeping in the middle of the first floor of the pagoda. Beside it, the little golden mouse was jumping around. After seeing Luo Qingtong come in, she immediately jumped towards her with a happy face. Creak creak. Big treasure, big treasure. It used its short claws to grab Luo Qingtong's trousers and hung on her calf. From the looks of it, it was as if he was trying to curry favor with someone powerful. Luo Qingtong smiled at its actions and picked it up. The little golden mouse was quick-witted. After being picked up by Luo Qingtong, it ran to her shoulder and squatted there. It hugged a strand of Luo Qingtong's hair and rubbed against it. If one were to say that it was wretched, then it was quite cute. If one were to say that it was cute, then one couldn't bear to look at it directly. Luo Qingtong's lips twitched as she looked at it. She didn't know if Heng Ji, this unreliable fellow, had led it astray. She crouched down and looked at Little Pig, who was snoring away. The latter's belly was facing the sky, and its short little tail was circling around. Its small belly was round, and it looked very cute. Luo Qingtong stretched out her hand and flicked its pig nose. Ever since she dealt with the Cool Breeze Pavilion Master in the space at the bottom of the cliff, this fellow had been sleeping until now and showed no signs of waking up. Luo Qingtong furrowed her brows. It wasn't like this the previous few times. Chapter 1942. This time, was it because he had consumed too much energy? As Luo Qingtong thought about it, she examined Little Pig's body. After discovering that there was nothing wrong with his body and that he was just sleeping, she didn't think too much about it. Little Pig's strength was sealed. Perhaps this time, it was because the pavilion master of the Cool Breeze Pavilion was too strong after his mutation, so he had to remove too much of his strength. Luo Qingtong recalled the scene when Little Pig's true body attacked. At that time, Little Pig, who usually only extended the tip of his claw or the tip of his claw, seemed to have extended his entire front claw. If that was the case, perhaps it was because he had broken too many seals and had consumed too much energy. After confirming that Little Pig was fine, Luo Qingtong sat down at the bottom of the 9-layered exquisite pagoda and prepared to increase her strength. The ratio of time here was different, so she could save a lot of Luo Qingtong's time. If she were to increase her strength outside, Luo Qingtong was afraid that she would waste too much time and wouldn't be able to make it in time for the opening of the land of the deceased immortals. Luo Qingtong sat upright on the ground and took out the Saint King Realm Immortal Jade Bone from the pavilion master of the Cool Breeze Pavilion. At that time, there were a total of 4 immortal jade bones. Among them, 3 were shattered by Luo Qingtong. Only the last one was left intact. Luo Qingtong released the ancient heavenly spirit wood from her trash ring. As soon as it came out, its leaves automatically wrapped around the Saint King Realm Immortal Jade Bone. In just a short while, the death chi and evil chi in the Saint King Realm Immortal Jade Bone were completely absorbed by it. Then, the ancient heavenly spirit wood burped and its leaves trembled as it retracted back into the trash ring. Luo Qingtong watched this scene with the corner of her mouth twitching. Then, she began to increase her strength. Swoosh! Streams of energy were absorbed into her body from the Saint King Realm's purifying celestial jade bone. Rumble! In Luo Qingtong's meridians, there was a sound that sounded like thunder and drums. The enormous energy from the Saint King Realm Immortal Jade Bone washed through her meridians and opened up her dantian. It pushed her strength to a higher level. At the same time, the Immortal Jade Bone contained the experiences and comprehensions of countless experts from outside the domain. At this moment, it also surged into her mind and fused with her own thought power. It helped her comprehend the power of a higher realm. Under this two-pronged effect, the aura inside of Luo Qingtong's body slowly changed. Rumble. Day after day passed. After Luo Qingtong, Luo Qingtong. The Luo Qingtong Luo's body. Luo. Luo Qingtong's body also began to tremble faintly in the surging power. Bang bang bang. Numerous wounds appeared on her body, dyeing her red robes even more crimson like fire. The intense and deep color was like a blood-red flower blooming in the depths of hell. It was full of the aura of death and blood. Luo Qingtong's face turned pale in an instant. But she didn't even open her eyes. Saint King Realm. I want to be a king and destroy everything. Chapter 1943. Bang! 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 As the blood vessels all over Luo Qingtong's body exploded. Her aura weakened in an instant. The large amount of blood loss had caused her breathing to become weak. It was almost as if she was about to completely disappear, as if she was dead. At this time, many people would not continue. However, Luo Qingtong did not stop her aura from circulating. She continued to circulate her power, pushing her strength to a higher level. In fact, the more he pushed, the faster he pushed. The next second, boom! When her aura almost fell to the freezing point, there was a sudden click in her mind, as if she had broken through some barrier. An extremely powerful and terrifying power poured down from her mind. And in Luo Qingtong's dantian, a brand new power suddenly emerged, completely different from before. It was like a rushing river, filling Luo Qingtong's entire body. Promotion to the Saint King realm. Luo Qingtong's aura, which had already fallen to the freezing point, suddenly rose. It recovered in an instant. Not only that. The ruptured blood vessels and wounds in her body were all healed in an instant. In the Saint King realm, there was no construction without destruction. Without destruction, there was no birth. The breakthrough was successful. Luo Qingtong's eyes suddenly opened. She felt the power of the Saint King realm in her body and laughed. Fortunately, I broke through at the last moment. The situation just now was really dangerous. How many people had broken through to the Saint King realm at the last stage? If they retreated, they would not be able to break through again. After that, it would be harder and harder to break through again. And if they forced their way through without experience, it would be easy to fail at the last moment. At that time, not only would they fail to break through, but they would also lose their lives. Luo Qingtong was able to break through successfully because of the help of the power in the Saint King realm's immortal jade bone. After all, the Saint King realm's immortal jade bone contained the experience and comprehension of the foreign powerhouse who had already broken through to the Saint King realm. It was equivalent to having a master helping her break through step by step. After successfully breaking through to the Saint King realm, Luo Qingtong began to consume the leaves picked from the ancient heavenly spirit tree. She plucked the biggest piece. The color contained within was incomparably deep. Clearly, it was very mature. Since Hengji wasn't here, Luo Qingtong didn't know if the darker the color of the leaf, the stronger the power of the soul imprint contained in the leaf. After all, even the same soul seals had different levels and strengths. Luo Qingtong thought that it was better to accept this piece. After all, it was the first to grow. Luo Qingtong put the leaf into her body. In an instant, the leaf turned into a warm current that flowed against the current. With a boom, Luo Qingtong felt that there was something in her mind. It was an indescribable feeling. It was as if there was something in her soul that was different from before. Luo Qingtong sensed this feeling and then began to follow this feeling to find the newly developed soul seal ability. Boom! As she probed, a ball of fiery light appeared in her hand. Then, the power of the golden sun fire rose from her hand. Luo Qingtong was surprised. Chapter 1944. Swish! In an instant, the flame in Luo Qingtong's hand transformed into various colors. Red, white, gold, purple, and even, dark black. Luo Qingtong looked at the various flame auras in her hand and blinked. She seemed to have awakened an incredible soul seal ability. The aura emitted by these flames gave Luo Qingtong a completely different feeling. This was not an ordinary fire attribute soul seal. An ordinary fire attribute soul seal could not transform into so many flame auras. An ordinary fire attribute soul seal could absorb and control the aura of a flame. The stronger the flame aura, the higher the level of the fire attribute soul seal, and the more powerful the cultivator could exert. However, the soul seal that Luo Qingtong had awakened seemed to be able to control and transform all flames. Luo Qingtong looked at the flame auras constantly changing in her palm and did not know what was going on. Was it because of her innate mixed yuan body, or was the leaf of the ancient heavenly spirit tree really so powerful? Luo Qingtong was surprised. The fire attribute auras, after transforming in Luo Qingtong's hand for a while, were suddenly extinguished. With Luo Qingtong's current strength, there was no way she could fully control these flame auras. In particular, the stronger the flame aura, the more power it needed to support it. Luo Qingtong had just reached the Saint King realm. Under the illusion of these flame auras, she was drained dry. By the time she reacted, there was only an empty shell left in her body. The power in her body had been squeezed dry, and there was not even a little bit left. However, the number of flame auras that she had conjured in her hands did not even exceed 10. These 10 kinds of flame auras had drained the power of Luo Qingtong's Saint King realm. Luo Qingtong's lips twitched violently. However, she was very happy in her heart. The stronger the flame aura, the stronger the power she could attach to her attacks in the future. To her, this was something she could only wish for. When her strength increased in the future, she would naturally be able to control the aura of these flames. Moreover, it could create even more flame aura. Compared to this, consuming a little more energy was nothing. Luo Qingtong thought so and didn't care much about it. She tidied herself up and prepared to leave the 9-layer exquisite pagoda. When she broke through earlier, her body was covered in blood. At this moment, the clothes on his body were sticky, almost sticking to his body. Luo Qingtong felt very uncomfortable. She wanted to go out and take a bath before coming back to test her improved strength. In any case, the energy in her body was all gone. It would take some time for it to grow again. Luo Qingtong took advantage of this time to take a bath. She asked someone to prepare a bathtub for her. After going out, she went straight into the bathtub to wash up. While Luo Qingtong was bathing in her room, a group of uninvited guests arrived at the imperial city. "Which one of you is Luo Qingtong?" Their faces were arrogant. After asking about the location of the imperial sect, they came straight to the door. "Who are you?" A guard of the imperial sect disciple asked cautiously. "Who are we?" "You have no right to ask." Chapter 1945. The aura surrounding this group of people was extremely vast and powerful. The aura of each of them was not weaker than the 3 protectors of the celestial palace from before. Sensing the aura and power emitted from their bodies, the expressions of the people from the imperial sect all changed. At this moment, Su Yu and the others had already received the news and rushed over. "Who exactly are you people?" They looked at the group of people in front of them with vigilance. With such strength and power, these people obviously came from the hidden world. Could it be that they were friends that the master had made in the hidden world? But if that was the case, these people's attitude was too arrogant and rude. Moreover, when they mentioned the master's name, they did not have any respect. Everyone thought about it and immediately became very vigilant. Su Yu looked at them and said coldly, "Report your identities. Otherwise, don't expect us to help you report." If these people were not the master's friends as they thought, but enemies, then reporting to the master and asking her to come over would be harming her. Su Yu and the others would definitely not do that. In fact, they were already prepared to make a move. When the group of people heard the words of Su Yu and the others, they were very worried. They glanced at Su Yu and the others and then realized that the strength of these people was far stronger than they had imagined. The strength of a holy general and so many holy masters? These people were surprised. They did not expect that in this secular world where spiritual energy was scarce, such powerful experts could be born. Wasn't the talent of these people a little too stunning? Everyone was surprised, but they did not know that this was the effect of purifying the immortal jade bone. The violent aura in the southern region had long disappeared completely. The aura at the bottom of the cliff had also shrunk as those monsters were killed. It was almost inaudible now. These people naturally did not know what had happened. When they saw the strength of Su Yu and the others, the arrogance on their faces was slightly restrained, but the tone of their words was still very impolite. "We are from the first-class sect of the hidden world, the Heavenly Yuan sect. We are here to invite Miss Luo Qingtong to the Heavenly Yuan sect under the orders of our martial granduncle. We have something to ask of you." As he spoke, he took out a letter. "This is a personal letter from our martial granduncle." Although the Sky Yuan sect disciple had said that he had something to ask of him, he didn't seem to care. If it weren't for the sudden appearance of that High Master ancestor, who would have come to the mortal world of the true Spill continent just to ask a young girl to help. It was said that this girl was only 15 or 16 years old. At this age, even if he was a rare alchemy genius, how strong could he be? Back in the hidden world, so many pill masters were helpless against this injury. How could a young girl cure it? What a joke! As the Heavenly Yuan Sect disciple pondered, Su Yu and the others received the letter. They were still guessing who this High Master ancestor of the Heavenly Yuan Sect was and why he would suddenly come to invite their master. Moreover, he seemed to be very confident in their master's abilities. Just as they were thinking about this, they saw the name marked on the letter. All of a sudden, the crowd cried out in surprise. Highest Dean. Chapter 1946. Su Yu and the others were shocked when they saw the name on the letter. Who would have thought that this group of people who looked like they were here to cause trouble would actually send a letter from the Grand Supreme Dean? Speaking of which, the Grand Supreme Dean had secretly left after the people from the Breeze Pavilion came to attack them. They wanted to thank him but could not find him. They even sent people to the sacred dynasty of the Empire of Qin to ask, but they could not find him. So he had gone to the Heavenly Yuan Sect? They did not expect the Grand Supreme Dean to be a member of the Heavenly Yuan Sect. He was even the Grand Supreme Dean of the Heavenly Yuan Sect disciples. His seniority was really high. After the group of people confirmed that the people from the Heavenly Yuan Sect were not enemies, they immediately went to inform Luo Qingtong. Luo Qingtong had just walked out of the bathroom. When she heard the news, she raised her eyebrows and followed Su Yu and the others to the main hall of the Imperial Sect. The people from the Heavenly Yuan Sect were sitting in the main hall. When they saw Luo Qingtong, they immediately stood up and looked at her with arrogance. You are Luo Qingtong? They sized up Luo Qingtong and the disapproving look on their faces became even more obvious. She was just as they had thought. She was a young and tender girl. What kind of medical skills could such a person have? They were afraid that the Grand Supreme Dean who had suddenly appeared wanted to push people into the Heavenly Yuan Sect. That was why he had purposely said that she could cure their Grand Supreme Dean's injury. After all, the Grand Supreme Dean had already brought a royal disciple from the sacred dynasty of the Empire of Qin into the Heavenly Yuan Sect. He was even the Crown Prince. It was not so appropriate to push another person into the Heavenly Yuan Sect. That was why he had come up with such a plan to push her into the Heavenly Yuan Sect. The Heavenly Yuan Sect disciples were full of disdain when they thought of this. They looked at Luo Qingtong with even more arrogance. This is the Grand Supreme Dean's handwritten letter. Take a look. If there are no problems, come with us. The leader of the Heavenly Yuan Sect disciples said rudely. He had never thought that Luo Qingtong would not go with them. To be able to go to their Heavenly Yuan Sect, Luo Qingtong must be crazy with joy. She would definitely seize this opportunity. After all, wasn't this what she and the Grand Supreme Dean wanted to do? The Heavenly Yuan Sect disciple had a mocking expression. Luo Qingtong raised her brows when she saw their gazes. The Grand Supreme Dean's previous sect was like this? It was no wonder that after his strength declined, he came to the true Spill continent and became the Dean of the Great Qin Sacred Dynasty's Sacred Academy. Luo Qingtong did not pay attention to these people. He only took the letter from the Grand Supreme Dean that they handed over. For the Grand Supreme Dean to send these people to find him, there must be a reason. Luo Qingtong had received many favors from the Grand Principal. When the people of the Breeze Pavilion attacked, the Grand Supreme Dean still came to help regardless of the consequences. Just based on this point, if the Grand Principal was in trouble, Luo Qingtong would definitely help him. Heavenly Yuan Sect? What was it to her? She could even turn the beast-taming King Valley upside down. Although the Heavenly Yuan Sect's strength was considered outstanding among the first-grade sects, it was much worse than the beast-taming King Valley. Luo Qingtong was not afraid of them. She opened the letter in her hand. Soon, she figured out what was going on. It turned out that the Grand Supreme Dean wanted her to go to the Heavenly Yuan Sect to help treat someone. The other party's injury was similar to his, but the situation was much more serious. Chapter 1947. Luo Qingtong looked at the letter and raised her eyebrows. Just to save someone? That was much simpler. Luo Qingtong was originally going to the hidden world. The Heavenly Yuan Sect would definitely enter the land of the deceased immortals. She could go in with them, which would save her a lot of trouble. Most importantly, Luo Qingtong did not know much about the situation in the land of the deceased immortals. She was still thinking about making some inquiries about this when she went to the hidden world. However, no matter how much information she found out, how could it be more detailed than first-hand information from a first-class sect? Luo Qingtong naturally would not miss this opportunity. Okay, I'll go with you, she said to the people of the Heavenly Yuan Sect. When the latter and the others heard this, they immediately revealed an expression of, as expected. They looked at Luo Qingtong with even more disdain and mockery. They had completely treated Luo Qingtong as someone who was clinging onto someone powerful. Luo Qingtong's lips twitched when she saw their gazes. If these people of the Heavenly Yuan Sect knew what she had done in the hidden world, they would not think this way. However, Luo Qingtong had no intention of exposing herself. Moreover, what did these people of the Heavenly Yuan Sect think have anything to do with her? As long as these people did not provoke her for no reason, it was fine. Otherwise, she would definitely let them know what it meant to be a person. Luo Qingtong did not leave with the people of the Heavenly Yuan Sect immediately. Her strength had just increased and she still needed some time to consolidate it. In addition, she also needed time to adapt and use the soul seal of the Soul of 1,000 Flames. She asked the people of the Heavenly Yuan Sect to wait in the Imperial City. After 3 days, she would leave with them. The disciples of the Heavenly Yuan Sect were not worried. They felt that Luo Qingtong was simply using their invitation to act like a big shot. Pfft! A scheming person who wants to enter our sect really thinks that she is a guest of our sect. That's right, she actually asked us to wait for her. The group of people complained as they returned to the inn. If it wasn't for the orders of the sect and great-grand-aunt, who would come to invite a girl who is still wet behind the ears. There's no energy fluctuation around him at all. I wonder how trashy his strength is. Grand Uncle Master actually asked us to invite such a person. He even got the sect master's approval. This is too embarrassing for the Heavenly Yuan Sect. Exactly. When Luo Qingtong came out to meet the disciples of the Heavenly Yuan Sect, all the power in her body had been drained after using the Soul of Myriad Flames. Under such circumstances, her body naturally did not have any energy fluctuations at all. In the eyes of the Sky Yuan Sect's disciples, she was so weak that they couldn't even sense the slightest energy wave from her. She was even more disdainful of her now. However, Luo Qingtong was ordered by the sovereign and the others to return. No one dared to disobey. After complaining for a while, they could only wait in the inn. And Luo Qingtong took advantage of these 3 days to consolidate her strength and realm. She also familiarized herself with the use of the Soul of 1,000 Flames and determined which flames she could use. She knew which flames she could use at the same time, which flames she could not use, and which flames she could use for a longer period of time. After confirming all these, Luo Qingtong came out of seclusion. Chapter 1948. His handsome face was bruised and swollen with all sorts of colors. Luo Qingtong looked at his face and couldn't help but laugh. Cough, this color, it's quite even. As soon as she said this, Yu Huang's eyes were filled with grievance. Tong Tong, it shouldn't be like this. Damn it, he was really tortured this time. That bastard Yi Qianren was too much of a bastard. He was so strong, but he didn't use his full strength at the beginning. First, one hand, then the other, then both hands without using his feet, he tricked him into hitting him several times. Every time he thought he could win, but every time he was tortured to the point of doubting his life. He was really King treacherous. A dignified Ming Zun should be more arrogant. Damn it. If he didn't get back at him in the future, his surname wouldn't be Yu. Yu Huang left angrily. Luo Qingtong looked at his back and her lips suddenly twitched. She deeply felt that Yu Huang should change his surname faster. Anyway, his surname wasn't really Yu. Sigh, in order not to hurt him, she had to hold it in. Yi Qianxian's strength was only a little bit after being restricted by the heavens. She also wanted to suppress that perverted man. But what could she do if she couldn't beat him? When Luo Qingtong's lips twitched, Yi Qianming also stepped in from outside. Qianming. Luo Qingtong looked at the man who was wearing a silver robe with golden threads. His eyes were sharp and cold, and his face was luxurious and cold. She immediately went up to him. Yi Qianming's expression was indifferent, but he raised his hand and wrapped it around Luo Qingtong's slender waist, pulling her into his embrace. One must know that this was unimaginable for Yi Qianming in the past. Not to mention hugging a woman. Even if someone approached him with bad intentions, he would fling them away with a wave of his sleeve. But now, as long as Luo Qingtong was around, Yi Qianming wanted to hug her. You beat Yu Huang too badly. Luo Qingtong automatically snuggled into his embrace. She was already used to having Yi Qianming by her side. The man's aura was already within the range of her sense of security. It wouldn't arouse any instinctive reaction or reaction in her body. This lord has already shown mercy. Yi Qianming's voice. It was better to beat him badly, so that he wouldn't keep thinking about her. And, thinking of the little book that Zhuo Fei showed him, Yu Huang scolded him a few times. Yi Qianming felt that he was already being merciful by not killing him. He completely suppressed his own strength to the same level as Yu Huang, and fought with him. It could not be considered as taking advantage of him. Who could he blame him? Luo Qingtong's lips twitched. This man was really becoming more and more childish. At this moment, she heard Yi Qianming. Yi Qianming hurried over when he heard about the Sky Yuan sect. Otherwise, Yu Huang might have been tortured for a few more days. Who told him to run over to Yi Qianming for a duel? He even told the other party not to refuse. In the end, it was a tragedy. It's nothing. Luo Qingtong shook her head and told him about the letter from the Grand Principal. Her expression was indifferent. Since it's the Grand Principal's request, I'll go. Moreover, I should be able to get a lot of information about the land of the fallen immortals from the Sky Yuan sect. This was the first time Luo Qingtong, Su Yu, and the others entered the land of the fallen immortals. Naturally, they had to be fully prepared. Chapter 1949. Yi Qianming nodded. He had the same idea before. He was going to send people from the Black Field into the hidden world to collect information about this. But after all, as Luo Qingtong thought, the first-hand and most detailed information was naturally in the hands of a first-class sect like the Sky Yuan sect. It was best to get it from their hands. It could save a lot of time and energy. After all, it wasn't long before Luo Qingtong and the others went to the land of the fallen immortals. I'll go with you. Luo Qingtong nodded and then looked at him. You're done with the things on your side. Yi Qianming's expression was indifferent. He didn't have too many things to do when he returned to the Black Field this time. He just called back some of his previous forces and began to pave the way for Luo Qingtong to go to the land of the fallen immortals. When the land of the fallen immortals opened, all the forces in the hidden world would gather. Yi Qianming naturally wouldn't let anything happen to Luo Qingtong when she entered the land of the fallen immortals. He would protect everything that belonged to this woman. No one could act rashly. As for his identity being recognized, after the land of the fallen immortals, he would take Luo Qingtong and leave this place. So what if his identity was recognized? The other party wouldn't be able to find a place to verify his identity. Yi Qianming's expression was indifferent, but Luo Qingtong had already nodded happily. Okay, then we'll go to the Sky Yuan Sect together. I'll tell Su Yu and the others to go to the Breeze Pavilion's headquarters first and take their heritage. The people of the Breeze Pavilion secretly came to the True Spill continent. It was useless to know that they were destroyed. According to Yan Yuju, the people of the Breeze Pavilion first sealed the mountain gate and then secretly went down the mountain. Since that was the case, it would be a waste not to take the treasures. They could directly rob the heritage of the Breeze Pavilion. This way, the immortal jade bones they obtained would belong to them. At that time, they wouldn't need to worry that Su Yu and the others didn't have enough immortal jade bones to go to the land of the fallen immortals. In addition, they could also get a bunch of things. If it was convenient, the mountain gate of the Breeze Pavilion could be used as Tian Xie's base in the hidden world. A new starting point. Yes. Yi Qianming nodded. I'll get Bei Qing and the others to cooperate with them. This way, Su Yu and the others would be absolutely safe. All right. Luo Qingtong laughed when she heard that. She looked at the man in front of her and felt that she was about to be spoiled by him. This feeling of, you attack the house, I rob the house, you kill, I deliver the knife, was simply too great. Luo Qingtong had never been spoiled like this before. If this man wanted to treat someone well, the average person wouldn't be able to bear it. Of course, he couldn't bear it either and fell into the enemy's hands. However, in this world, it was not easy to find someone who was as monstrous as him. Yet, the other party still indulged and spoiled her so much. Luo Qingtong felt that even if she fell, it was not a shameful thing. What's more, it was this man who had fallen for her first. Thinking of this, her eyes suddenly widened and she smiled. Luo Qingtong and Yi Qianming didn't stay in the imperial city for long. Once the 3-day deadline was up, they set off with the people of the Sky Yuan Sect. The latter and the others were very unhappy that Luo Qingtong had to bring a man with her. A disciple of the Sky Yuan Sect said in a strange tone, "Really, is it popular to bring a family to the sect now?" Chapter 1950. He purposely lowered his voice so that Luo Qingtong could hear him. She couldn't find anything that could be used against him. Luo Qingtong raised her eyebrows and said coldly, "So when the people from the Heavenly Yuan Sect came, they said that I can't bring anyone with me? If that's the case, then I won't go." Luo Qingtong's expression was cold. She gave face to the Grand Supreme Dean, but that didn't mean that these people from the Heavenly Yuan Sect could be unscrupulous and take a mile after taking an inch. The Heavenly Yuan Sect wasn't the only first-class sect in the hidden world. If she wanted to obtain information about the Graveyard of Immortals, she couldn't only rely on the Heavenly Yuan Sect. Luo Qingtong said. Instantly, the faces of the Heavenly Yuan Sect disciples turned ugly. The sect didn't say that Luo Qingtong couldn't bring anyone with her. After all, they were here to invite Luo Qingtong, not Luo Qingtong begging them to go. Under such circumstances, Luo Qingtong was free to bring as many people as she wanted. However, they were certain that Luo Qingtong was using the Grand Supreme Dean to climb up the ranks. They felt that it was already a great honor for her to go to the Heavenly Yuan Sect alone. If she brought another person with her, she would be asking for a mile after taking an inch. Now that they were choked by Luo Qingtong's words, they were momentarily speechless. If Luo Qingtong didn't go to the Heavenly Yuan sect, then they would be incompetent. The leader of the Heavenly Yuan sect disciples glared at the person who spoke, then frowned and said to Luo Qingtong, we Heavenly Yuan sect disciples are in the wrong. Don't take it to heart. His words sounded like he was giving in to Luo Qingtong, but the meaning in his words was still very impolite. It even carried an air of superiority and command. Yi Qianxian's eyes were cold as he looked at these people from the Heavenly Yuan sect. Luo Qingtong had told him before that these people were sent by the Grand Principal, so he didn't think much about it. From the looks of it, these people were not simply sent here by the Grand Principal. He was clearly looking down on Luo Qingtong. If he had known earlier, even if Luo Qingtong owed the Grand Principal a favor, he would never have allowed her to agree to go to the Heavenly Yuan sect. A favor was a favor. His woman would never be wronged. Apologize. Yi Qianxian's voice was cold. The disciples of the Sky Yuan sect glared at him. They were afraid of Luo Qingtong. Who was this man? What right did he have to speak to them like that? The disciples of the Sky Yuan sect were furious. A few Heavenly Yuan sect disciples even said to the leading disciple, "Senior brother, I think they really don't know what's good for them. There's no need to continue talking to them. Let's go." Yes. When we return to the sect, tell the sect leader and the others that they were the ones who didn't want to come. Shut up. The leading disciple's face was ice cold. He glared angrily at these accompanying senior and junior brothers. How could it be as simple as they made it out to be? The sect leader and the others had sent someone to invite Luo Qingtong. Moreover, that martial granduncle who had suddenly appeared had also said that there was a personal letter from him, so she would definitely come. If they went back alone, would the sect leader and the others listen to their explanation? What's more, this girl was clearly acquainted with that martial granduncle. If he personally came to invite her, what if she told that martial granduncle about this? At that time, they would be punished by the sect because of this groundless resentment. Not only that, losing the trust of the sect leader and the others was a big taboo. You're tuning into the Xiaofan's Wuxia Tales YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.